That means let's get ready in Spanish. I'm learning. All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to City Hall here in the city of Hollywood. Ceremonial tap of the gavel to open our CRA meeting. Hold on, Joanne is motioning with her hands that maybe I should wait. I think I will wait. We're ready? We are ready. All right, great. Today is November 5th, 2025. Time is flying by.
Yeah.
Let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Yeah, 12. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, roll call, please. Hold on, let me activate the mics here. Okay. Roll call, please.
Board Member Shuham?
Here.
Board Member Hernandez?
Here.
Board Member Kalari?
Here.
Vice Chair Quintana?
Here.
Board Member Biederman?
Here.
Board Member Gruber?
Here.
Chair Levy?
Here. All right, at this time, I'd like to invite a motion to accept Board Member Biederman's participation virtually today.
Motion to accept.
Second.
We have a motion from Board Member Kaleri and a second from Hernandez to accept Commissioner Biederman's participation virtually today. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Motion carries unanimously. Let's go ahead to 9 a.m. citizen comments. I'm assuming there are no conflict disclosures. So let's go ahead to a comment by Mr. Bob Glickman. Come on up, Bob.
Good morning, Bob Glickman, Hollywood Beach. Happy November, everybody. I came here today to speak about the flap gates again. I just want to put it out there in front of everybody. I was hoping that at this meeting we were going to get the secretary from District 4 and the engineer to come here to speak, because I know we've been asking and they're not here, but still flooding is still a problem on the beach. I know all the things that we're doing to do that, but I think the first line of defense is really the flap gates and fixing the flap gates and maintaining the flap gates, which we don't seem to be doing. Not you all, but FDOT is not doing. So it's creating a problem. King Tides, it makes it worse. All the surface parking lots that are on the west side of A1A are continually flooding. The side streets, the beach side streets on the east side are always underwater. And if the water is not being stopped by the flap gates, certainly the drainage system underneath is broken. So it's seeping in through there. So I just wanted to put this again out in the forefront, and I'm glad to see the timer is not working, by the way. So I get to speak forever.
Oh, and now you just hurt yourself on that one.
Yeah, that's okay, that's
I feel like you've made
okay.
your point.
That's okay. I don't have, I didn't want to speak that long today.
Small favors.
Yeah. But I just wanted to say, and I want to bring this up again and again and again, that it's imperative that we fix this stuff. And I know it's not you, that it's them, but we just need to stay on top of them. I mean, as residents, some of us as residents are constantly contacting them and telling them and pleading with them, we need to get them down here. They need to see firsthand. If they would come down here and see it firsthand, they will do something about it. They've done it twice before when they've seen what a problem is and they've tried to rectify it. I know they're doing other things, which is great, but the flap gates are the first line of defense and maintaining them. And this is what they're not doing. Okay, the drainage system is leaking, and you can see the water just pouring up from through the manhole covers and through the streets. So I just wanted to bring it to your attention. I'm glad that now at the CRA meetings, we have so many staff members here. So, we can just let them know, hey, it's a problem. We need to keep this at the forefront. Thank you.
Thank you. CRA Director?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, Vice Chair, and board members, and for the public's consumption too, we've made a number of contacts with FDOT and the Secretary since the last meeting. Did get a response back last week, and trying to get them to be here at these meetings and meeting with us and have a presence here. They said they will, but they're still trying to coordinate time and schedules to do that. So we'll stay after it. We'll get it. It just hasn't happened yet. So.
Yeah, if I just could point out, I see Vin here. I know that we had discussed as a board and as a city commission the idea that, there are, a certain number of outflows, on the beach, and that we wanted to get to the point where we would, by 2027 have WAPRO valves or whatever valve is appropriate for each one of those, because that really is, as we've been saying here for years, the first line of defense, even before the pumps. And for those areas and basins where the pumps are going to have the backflow prevention integrated into them, I'll defer to the engineers and the utilities on what to do where. But hopefully this is a number one priority of the CRA and of utilities and our partnership with FDOT, following the agreement we entered into years ago and the plan of action that the county assisted with as well. So we'll just look for an update as soon as you can get FDOT folks here.
Mayor?
Yes, Board Member Hernandez, go ahead.
Thank you. Bob, as you could see, item 9 has the ability, we're actually purchasing a vac truck in order for us to maintain. And my question would be to the CRA director, have we reached out to them to try to see if we can get any money back from, if we help maintain some of these drains?
You talking about the FDOT?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, part of the discussions that we'll have with them when we get to sit face to face will be to run through all those issues. So I don't know if any of the staff has had that preliminary discussion or not yet. I don't know if Vin or anybody can update us on that. I don't know if we got into that detail yet.
I mean, one concept that I think Board Member Hernandez is raising is hey, if they and their maintenance contractor cannot get to or give the
Understood.
attention necessary, then perhaps they can reimburse us
For
the
doing
cost
it.
of doing that service for them on their behalf.
That is correct. And if we haven't, maybe we may want to put it in writing, just so that there will be a record that we've already reached out to them to try to resolve this issue. As, as time goes on, somebody would say, oh, I don't remember that conversation. Yet if we put it in writing, then we would have that when it comes to that. I don't know if anybody, if no answer.
No, it's fine. No, we've got the point, and we have an agenda of issues to go through with them, and we will, we were hoping to be able to broach those face-to-face in person first and then follow up with the writing, but if we can get that soon enough, we'll do that. If not, we'll put it in writing and then do it the other way around.
Fair enough.
Board Member Shuham?
Yeah, I mean, it's same lines, but we were so frustrated when they were here because they have maintenance contracts, which we can't tap into, but they're not tapping into them. And that's the frustration. And so we even had discussed the potential for an ILA with them of some sort, either allowing us to tap into that ILA, into their maintenance contract, or, as Commissioner Hernandez says, doing it ourselves. So, I mean, they're real issues. And either it has to be resolved by a mutual agreement, or, I mean, what is the action if FDOT fails to maintain their roads within a municipality? Is there like a one, like we have the 169 actions or whatever they're called? Is there something like that you do with the FDOT when they're not upholding their end of the bargain?
Well, first of all, as you can see from the last meeting, and no offense to anybody that was here at the last meeting, but we need to get the senior decision makers at the table so that we can get those kind of commitments and we can have those kind of agreements, because others don't have the ability to do that. If that's successful, great. If that's not successful and there are still things in our interests that aren't being done, if we have to step in and do some things and we've got the ability to do it, we've done that before and we'll do it again. So. Yeah. And if we can get them to pay for it as well, yeah.
Yep. All right, thank you so much. Today's consent agenda includes items 5 through 7. Are there any speaker cards on 5 through 7?
No cards.
Motion.
We have a motion from Board Member Hernandez, second from Board Member Shuham to approve items 5 through 7. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, those items carry unanimously. On to our regular agenda, we have 3 items, 8 through 10. Item 8 is a resolution of the CRA approving and authorizing the CRA to execute an interlocal agreement with the City of Hollywood for funding a contract with Carnahan, Proctor, and Cross to provide construction engineering inspection services for the combined signage projects, including the citywide gateway and neighborhood signage project, and the CRA district signage projects, in total amount not to exceed $184,000 and change. Are any speaker cards on item 8?
No speaker cards.
Director, if you'd like to just make a comment on this?
Well, just simply, it's just a shared expense since there's signage involving, the city and the CRA. About a third of it is cost to the CRA, and the city will manage the contract. We just need those engineering and inspection services to make sure that the locations and the conditions on all the numerous installations are done properly. So, yeah.
Right of way, yeah. All right, if there's a request for a presentation or otherwise a motion, board members? We have a motion to approve by Board Member Coleri, second from Board Member Gruber. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, item carries unanimously. Jose and team, thank you. Item 9 is a resolution of the CRA approving and authorizing the CRA to transfer an amount of $526,000 and change to the City of Hollywood for the purchase of a Vector model sewer cleaner truck. In accordance with our procurement code. This has been something that the board has been asking for a long time. I think Board Member Biederman especially has been always advocating for this, and it'll help, obviously, the CRA district maintain the district as water-free as it can, where the Vector truck is a good solution. Are there any speaker cards on item 9? Oh, we do have a card. Bob, come on up.
Good morning, Bob Glickman. I am, of course, in favor of this item. I'm just questioning why you're not taking out the extended warranty or maintenance agreement that's part of the package. There was, I think it was for 4 years, it was $62,000. I think if you're buying this piece of machinery for well over $500,000, you need to take out a maintenance agreement with it. So, that's my question to you. I didn't see it. I saw in the backup that they were offering it, but I don't see that we're accepting that. So my question to you is, if you're not, why not? And should we be doing that? It's just a fraction of the cost for the next 4 or 5 years. Thank you.
I got you. It depends on the terms of the maintenance agreement and what it covers versus warranty. But Vin, why don't you come on up and reflect? And if you need us to authorize an opportunity to do that, I think, City Attorney, I think we might be able to provide that authorization if Vin feels like he needs to look at it, further. But let's hear from Vin.
Good morning. Vin Morel, Director of Utilities. I think under this circumstance, this was a concept that was presented by the CRA to buy this piece of equipment. I don't think we, out of concern for conservation of funds, we didn't include, I believe, that the warranty, but we can certainly add it if you'd like. But we know we've got 4 of these machines, and we're maintaining them now, and it's a new machine.
So given the machine's fitness for its purpose and its the longevity of its components, do you want to review an opportunity for us to authorize you to review, and if so, procure the maintenance agreement, or do you already know that you're not interested based on your experience with these machines and that the dollars spent on maintaining them are fair and won't exceed the 62 and whatever the terms are for the...
Based on our experience with the machines, we'll pass on the maintenance at this time.
Thank you. Board Member Hernandez?
Yeah, Mayor, I was going to ask him regarding the experiences they have had on the other equipment that we purchased, if they've held up, if they haven't had an issue. And I know that sometimes the warranty takes longer for the equipment to be fixed than if the maintenance shop actually works on it right away. So I just wanted to get a feedback.
Right. I didn't want to drill into too much detail, but the issues that we've had with the warranty is the machines that we've had that have really failed have outlived the warranty. So we get into a cycle where the warranty covers, like any new vehicle, you get that 3-year, 36,000 mile, and you don't have any problems. And then after that is when you have the problems. So we just, our experience is we don't need the warranty.
Murphy's Law. Motion to approve.
Second.
Board Member Shuham?
Real quick, then, the base warranty that comes with the package, is it a year?
Off the top of my head, yes, it's generally a year.
Okay. And so typically, the real fundamental problems would reveal themselves within the year.
Right, you'll get those OEM defects will reveal themselves in the first year.
Thank you.
All right, we have a motion from Board Member Hernandez to approve. A second. Clerk, do you have a second? Board Member Coleri. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, item carries unanimously. Item 10 is a resolution of the CRA ratifying the submission of an application to the Florida Department of Environmental Protection for a Land and Water Conservation Fund grant for the Keating Park project, authorizing the city to accept the grant in an amount up to $750,000, authorizing 50% matching funds, and further authorizing the CRA to execute all applicable program documents and agreements. Any speaker cards on item 10?
No speaker cards.
Motion from Board Member Shuham to approve, second from Vice Chair Quintana. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the item carries unanimously. All right, Mr. Executive Director, on to our informational report, providing an update to the CRA on beach and downtown activities for the previous month, or any other informational report that you may offer.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair and Vice Chair and board members. On that last item, there had been some discussion in the past as that work on Keating Park is getting wrapped up to perhaps try to include a tot lot improvement at that. If there's interest, we've got some preliminary ideas on that.
Yeah, let's take a look. I mean, if you have something to present, that'd be great.
Yeah, okay. So if we can do that. Good? Yep, thank you.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, and board members. Chris Cressado, Project Manager with the Hollywood CRA. So as the Executive Director mentioned, Keating Park project is coming to a close. We're substantially complete, and the contractor is starting to wrap up a couple things. And with the request from the previous CRA board meeting, there was some inquiry about potentially including a tot lot in a small portion of the area. So this is an aerial of what the park and parking lot looked like prior to any of the work that was completed. The area in question, or the proposed area, would be approximately 800 square feet, where we could potentially squeeze in some park equipment. We've looked at this with a vendor that Parks and Rec typically uses for projects of this size, scale, and magnitude. So with this area specifically right now, as part of the Keating Park improvements, there was some landscape planted there, landscape that was relocated from some of the areas throughout the park. That landscape is thriving. It was relocated, reestablished, upgraded irrigation was planted there. And then there's a couple of kind of conflicts that happen underground in the area that we'd be looking at as where this tot lot could presumably go. There's an existing water line that runs somewhat east-west. There's some irrigation equipment, a backflow preventer, some electrical components and lines that run through that area. They can be relocated, but that's something that we'll definitely just need to look into and that we want to make you aware of beforehand. But I think for right now, what we can definitely look at is kind of the existing conditions, like I mentioned, just the general area and what we would need to do. So there's kind of three categories to some of the scopes of work that would be necessary for the playground equipment to go here. So the most important work as of right now, we don't really have pricing on yet, but we are definitely going to keep looking into, if that's the wish of the board, is the site work, site preparation, and the utility work. So the site and the area needs to be prepared a little bit. Some of that landscaping needs to get relocated. We need to cut and cap irrigation. There's also some regrading that needs to happen just because that area is rather sloped. So that's something that we'll need to look at potentially with a civil engineer or just with a preliminary understanding of surveying. And then there's equipment installation. So the idea would be to use some equipment from a specific vendor, Compan. They would have a poured-in-place surface material, and then some site furniture. So essentially, Compan was able to put together kind of a preliminary draft site plan of what could be done. This is the proposed after, if you will, or a draft of the layout. All of these are within their catalog and are considered within the 5 to 12 age range, which was something that between the vendor and Parks and Rec and ourselves at the CRA, that seems like a fitting set of equipment that could go there. Obviously, some things would need to shift per the items that we just mentioned, but more or less, this is roughly something that could go into this space with some minor disturbance to that area and things underground. That's what we're trying to do, keep the impact minimal in this area. So just some preliminary numbers to take a look at. Really what we were able to get is some preliminary numbers from the vendor and their installation. And, they would be a turnkey solution in which they could do the permitting, the engineered shop drawings, and obviously the freight. But so preliminarily, that site work, just for the fencing and some of those areas, it's $24,000. And then for equipment installation, you have roughly $200,000. And then the freight shop drawings and permitting is just around $14,000. So right now, preliminarily, you're looking at a little over $230,000 with the numbers that we were able to get from the vendor. Again, if that's something you want us to continue to investigate, there's ways that we can negotiate those things. But as of right now, these are the prices that we were able to find from that vendor.
Board Member Kaleri.
Okay. So just out of curiosity, so you had said the spinning, I would just want to look at a couple of things. The spinning bowl A1 at Garfield Street, at the Charnel Park, those had to be removed because of maintenance issues.
Sure.
So why would we put one on the beach? I'm sure it's due to deterioration from the salt. So I think that that's wrong. We talk about quietness, the music. I'm sure we'll get complaints from
Sure.
the banging on the pipes and so forth and so on. And then B1, I probably would not even let my child go on that because of the springs and the metal. That looks to me like a death trap. So that leaves us with B1.
Sure.
When we originally spoke about this, which was, I think, at the last meeting, or maybe two
Correct. It was last meeting.
I think we were, and I could be wrong, so I don't want to speak on behalf of anyone else, but my perception was that we were going to do something very simple, a swing set of some nature, something that was not a cost burden. To me, this seems extreme. And then I guess the bigger question is, how soon would this be able to be put in place? Are we talking 2 years, 3 years?
That's something,
year?
right, that's something that, for one, we definitely want to work out any kind of things with the site work, anything that needs to be leveled. Can't speak to scheduling on that, but as far as just getting the freight and the equipment, and if we were just doing permitting just with that vendor, they've said it could be maybe 6 to 8 months. That's a rough schedule based on, preliminary layouts that we have right now. Obviously, we'd want to get that schedule kind of more written in stone, obviously, as much as we can, and worked out with the vendor and make sure that we follow all proper procurement standards. Maybe it's like a piggyback or something like that. Obviously, with the equipment that you all wish to go there, like you mentioned, if there's a series of pieces of equipment you don't want there, then that's, what we'd want to investigate. This was just kind of like a
Yeah.
And then
First
just a
pass.
random
Sure.
suggestion. And
Sure.
since we're looking at this price,
yeah.
at the beach, I think the biggest draw for the children, and just from experience with my grandchildren going, is a water feature of some sort. I don't know what the cost would be, but even if you were to put some type of a water feature instead, like a splash pad, at that cost, we talked about the costs, because it provides that opportunity for the parents that are on the beach, if they're looking to have their kids do some type of an enjoyment
Sure.
feature, they can play around. I'm going to leave it up to you to speak since it's your district, but I just feel like we had this idea, we talked about it up here. I didn't expect it to be so extreme. It was something simple,
Sure.
like swings or something of that nature. So I'll let anyone else talk, but I'm not in agreement with all of this right now and that cost.
Sure.
Board Member Shuham.
I agree with everything Commissioner Clary said. I think that simple was what we had wanted.
Sure.
I'm speculating that a water feature is way more expensive.
Well,
I'm just curious, out of that $200,000 line item, what's the breakdown between the equipment and the installation?
I don't have it in here, but that's definitely something that I can share with you,
Okay,
what the
'cause-
vendor gave us, but
I would prefer to see, I like the idea of simple too.
Sure.
A swing set, I mean, it was just a fact that parents wanted something.
Sure.
There's a lot of condos there that are transitioning to younger people. So something for their kids to do. It doesn't need to be so elaborate.
Okay.
But if we could add a swing set and maybe expand the size of that covered play area.
Okay.
But the $200,000 to me seems
Sure.
way beyond what we were talking
Understood.
about. I think that the site prep prices didn't seem crazy.
well, the site prep prices, just to be clear, that's not the final site prep price.
Okay.
That would have just been just for the chain link fence that would need to go around there. They have to pour a concrete curb with that fence so that you can actually pour in place that kind of foamy play material. That all needs to get poured into some sort of border.
So I'm curious about a fence, and maybe, Rick, you don't have to get up a yes or no, but whenever you put in a little playground like this these days, do you have to fence it? I mean, parents should be there watching their kids. Yeah, come on up. Yeah, I mean, I like the way it looks now, so open.
I mean, swing set on the grass also works. It worked for 100 years.
Exactly.
Good morning, board members. Rick Engel, Parks Recreation Cultural Arts Director. The situation with this site is because it's right by the parking lot and the road goes right by it, you have to have a fence.
Okay.
Because otherwise somebody would.
And what
drive out.
about the mayor's point about just putting the playground on grass? Do you not do that at all anymore?
And you can just
Because
have
of
a little kick surface there, right under the swing is fine, but nothing elaborate.
Nowadays, because of the ADA access and fall zones, that's why you don't see grass anymore. You either have to have the poured in place, artificial turf, or there's another, it's like a mulch called Fibar that meets ADA requirements, but you can no longer go with just grass and sand because of ADA requirements and
Okay.
accessibility.
Thanks, Rick. So thank you so much. I mean, you got a lot done in a short time. I think that from my perspective, simpler.
Okay.
The shade, I think, is probably even more important than everything else. So if we could expand the size of that covered piece, but keep it as simple as we can.
Okay, and just, for everyone's understanding, there's an area, I don't know if we could pull that aerial back up. As you know, with the beach, there's the coastal construction control line. Everything within that fence line is east of that, meaning permitting does have a little bit more.
Okay. Yeah, let's get that arrow back up because I'm wondering, now that we know it has to be fenced, let's come closer, let's come west of that line.
Do you have the line drawn?
Board members.
Yeah, there is a line drawn.
It's probably important to recognize, I believe the entire area is, isn't
Exactly.
that correct, Chris?
Correct.
Yes. So
All right.
this was the scaled back plan between the site work and the cost of the equipment. Now, certainly we can look at different pieces of equipment, but, I don't believe you're going to get this done for much less than $250,000, even if you choose less equipment. It's the site work, the poured in place surfacing, and, the installation that is going to create the cost. So I just want us to be realistic that, while the direction is simpler, the cost is not going to come down, be much below a $250,000 mark to put in the site work, the poured in place, the fence, and one piece of equipment or a swing set and one piece of equipment. And we've seen that fairly consistently across all of the playgrounds that we have, even when we're just replacing a piece of equipment in an existing playground.
So if I could just offer an alternative, and I'm not familiar off the top of my head what's under each one of those rooftops. I think one of them at least might be just open space.
Both are open,
Both are open,
but
right?
the southernmost one
Yeah.
has that kind of main pathway walking, kind of going through it.
So the north one, pavilion, let's call it, what is it, about a kind of like 14 by 14?
It's something like that,
Roughly.
or almost 20 by 20,
I
but
mean, I'm just throwing it out there that maybe we won't want to consider if the use of the pavilion and if the kids and it's already covered and we want to save dollars, maybe we could install some play equipment
Yeah,
under
I
that
like
rooftop and make it useful for that.
Like those vertical boards that the kids can slide. stuff on.
Whatever play opportunities. This way, we're not constructing anything. We're just installing a fixture and bolting it in. I mean,
Okay.
is that? I'm just throwing it out there as an idea.
Sure.
I don't know that it's ideal, but it could be something. And if it's used and
Yeah.
people enjoy it, then great.
Yeah, it's something that we could explore that could, like you're saying, go toward the stucco part of the wall, because there's some precast elements there. And then as long as we don't have to dowel in or go into that foundation slab, because that's a structural slab that we can't kind of penetrate. So that's got to,
I mean,
but I get what you're saying.
it seems to me
Absolutely.
like a too heavy of a
Sure,
situation. So,
sure.
all right, let's hear from more board members, and then we'll go to the next topic. Board Member Gruber.
Thank you. I don't think we should abandon the splash pad idea, even if it's just because. So at $250,000, $300,000, I don't think a one feature splash pad costs much more, unless you're talking about because of the
Don't forget the
permitting and all the
cost of
process
that.
because of the coastal control line. What?
The other one is $600K, the one that we're working on now.
The one is $450 in Maribyrnong and Galani Park.
Well, 450, 600. I mean,
Right.
it's
No,
going to
but
be
that-
expensive, and then there's all the underground issues. But
Sure. No, but I'm saying that has a bunch of features. What if we just put one with one big feature? Because I agree, like if you're at the beach, especially for younger kids, some of them don't want to go in the ocean, some don't know how to swim. It's good for a place for them to get wet and play in the water. I think that would, in my opinion, be a better option than putting, some swings and a slide. So I don't know if we could look into how much that would cost, but if it's a similar cost, I'd rather see that.
okay, let's go to Board Member Hernandez.
Thank you, Mayor. Before I make a decision, I'd like to know what the difference is, as Commissioner Shuham said, regarding the price of the equipment versus the installation, because it sounds to me that it doesn't matter what we do, you have a minimum that it's going to start at. And so if the minimum is $250,000, where we're starting in, the splash pad is $500,000, then we may be getting more of our money's worth for the splash pad than we will for just swing sets and what have you, and the fence. The fence still has to take place, and other things have to take place. The one thing that I'm concerned with is the maintenance for this in the long run. So if you have an idea of what something like that has cost, please bring that to us so that we can make an informed decision. I'm okay with doing something. I'm not sure that we want to spend $500,000 or $1 million on something like this, that is going to linger around with the continued expenses as we go along.
Sure.
And depending what kind of usage we have, we thought it was a good idea from the days, but have we talked to any of the residents of if they would actually be utilizing this for that particular thing? So more information, I think it's probably warranted.
Yeah, and I think if you all don't disagree, a concept of what we could put under that shade cover that exists, and maybe that, and what the approximate cost for that would be,
Okay.
and we can just make a decision one way or another.
I'm good with that.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank
so
you.
much. Hopefully you have direction. Executive Director.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Vice Chair, and board members. So in terms of activity, plenty of activity still going on, as we've talked about. Obviously, the recent opening of the Art and Culture Center downtown was not only a major project, but a major commitment and an anchor for downtown and for this community. I can remember decades ago when the Art and Culture Center first got established and then was looking for a home, and to see how it's grown and evolved all through the years, and now with this major investment in terms of not only expanding the infrastructure there, but making that such a focal point for the city and for downtown, it's impressive. So again, thanks to everybody that's worked on that and everybody that supported the bond issue to provide the needed funding to make that happen. So that's a real source of pride for the city now. The golf course, both in terms of the stormwater improvement at the Hollywood Beach Golf Course, is going well, actually a little bit ahead of schedule. And the clubhouse and everything should be done by March time for a nice official springtime opening. So going where though, also with another major capital improvement. Parking downtown, the former post office parking lot, now City of Hollywood parking lot, with that additional grade level close on the northwest corner downtown. And then, of course, FinFrock is proceeding with the design work on the new garage to be constructed on the southeast corner on Harrison Street. So moving along with a good bank of additional parking resources for the downtown as well, right next to the Art and Culture Center. And a lot of the beach infrastructure, the complete streets on the north end, everything going well, except the underground is substantially complete. That's coming along. And then the east-west streets, obviously a good deal of work still to be done there, but moving forward as well. If you have any specific issues that you want to get into or questions about other projects, we can do that as well. But we also had about a week ago, we had another coffee with the crew downtown with some of the work on Harrison Street. And that was a bit of a spirited meeting. And some of us were at that. And just as we've talked about before, anytime you try to time work, especially within a tight environment like that downtown, with impact on business and customers going in the season, not an easy balancing act to do. But some of the merchants had wanted to go early, some had wanted to go later, and now we're rolling along and we're trying to find some kind of a hybrid compromise solution to keep everybody happy at the same time, which is, as you know, next to impossible sometimes. But fortunately, we've got a very good, knowledgeable, experienced contractor who's working with it and gets it and understands. And we're making those adjustments as best as we can and go along. I don't know if, Raylene, you wanted to add anything else, but we certainly got everybody's interest when we had that meeting. So.
And the team does, thank you, George, the team does continue to work with the business owners and the contractor and is looking forward to bringing forward a revised schedule for everyone's consideration on that, addressing the concerns. We also, George, did you want to bring forward the Art and Culture Center item?
Sure, absolutely. Didn't know if we wanted to get into any other, but Jennifer Holman's here with us, obviously the director of the Art and Culture Center, and we had talked about last time about providing an opportunity for her and for more discussion in terms of some of the funding that we had discussed last time. So she's certainly here and available, and with your consideration. Yeah.
Sure. Welcome, Jennifer.
My name's Jennifer Holman, the Executive Director of Hollywood Art and Culture Center, as he said. Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. As George just said, Sunday was amazing. The 50 years to the day of when we opened at 1301 Ocean Boulevard, the Arts Hub opened with over 600 guests attending. And so we had a great response. We had to be pushing people out at 4 o'clock. I know our team was excited to close the doors at 4 o'clock. It was a long day. And as you saw on Channel 10, Hollywood was featured, and yesterday on NBC6. So that's just the first of many things to come. Arts and cultural experiences are very exciting. They're great feel-good stories, so they're fun media pushes. And all great cities have art and cultural, robust art scenes. Not only does it enhance the beauty of the area, but influences well-being and contributes to a sense of connected community. My son recently moved to Ann Arbor, Michigan. They have 2 art house cinemas on one street. So it's really important as we talk about the cinema going forward. We had George Camejo had actually approached us when Broward County Film Society gave their 60-day notice to move out. And the idea was to not let any spaces downtown go dark, let alone something really precious like that while coming out of COVID and obviously streaming services has changed a lot of things, there still is a lot of life in these areas and a lot of interest in keeping them going because, again, when we do things together in person, there's a very different energy than when you're sitting on your couch. So a great way to engage. At the time, the Film Society were losing about $4,000 a month in the cinema, and that was with the support, from the CRA. And so they wanted to focus on Savor, which was doing well, and on the festival. Just like anybody, we consolidate ROI, what's working, what's not working. And so they decided to piece it off because they were very open that they were not programming it the same way. They were not giving it the same attention. If you had been in there had been some neglect and things like that needed to be updated. And we had very frank conversations between their leadership and our leadership. And, we had talked with George about what year one costs would be, some startup costs, improvements. And so we kind of went on I was like good old boy handshake kind of agreement, and then George had left, so we didn't get anything in writing at the time when that had happened. But we still moved forward with a prospectus with our board based upon the numbers that we had been talking, and so our board approved it, and we've been managing it since January. We have seen an increase of attendance. And we've reduced that deficit by over 50% already in the summer months, which is a really tough time. It's your lowest months. The goal was for us, was to create a profit margin to support film programming, possibly a feature film fellow, other programming, et cetera. Broward County does not have the film resources that Miami-Dade has. It just does not, and we can help fill that void. We've talked to a lot of people, and there's a lot of interest in all of this. There's a new film studio in the works that I think is going to open potentially in the next 2 years, which will be full service movie, television, streaming production studios, about 100 square feet of indoor-outdoor film sets, school, and a back lot. So it's just a great time for us to be here, and all the people are looking to Broward County, to be honest with you, in Miami-Dade to expand up here in advance of that. We've been developing a lot of partnerships with those entities and professionals, and we're really excited because our digital media lab and some of other spaces, because in addition to the cinema, could screen films, have workshops, et cetera. So it becomes a whole hub, if you want, a cinema hub all around the world. But I'd like to, we've had events do really well. We've known this. We're very data centric. We've been looking what works and talking with other similar art house films. Events do very well. The On Location, I don't know if anybody's attended. I think both of you have saw it at Commissioner Shuham and Quintana at them. They sell out. So when there's an event and it's specific and it's push, people are coming. We had 72 people at Canvas, and we also welcomed a renowned Hollywood director who graduated from Hollywood Hills High, and he did a director talk, Joseph Greco. And then the month before, 2 weeks before, we had Bart Got a Room, and we had Brian Hecker, who also Hollywood Hills graduate. I guess they're great film energy in that school, that came and did a talk. We've done a lot of film festivals where we'll have 300 to 500 people in a day come through. And the majority of these people are from outside of Hollywood. So it's very data-driven. We have registrations, so we know where they're coming from. About 50% of them are coming from outside of Hollywood. When I'm there and I ask, like, for a hand, who has never been in this theater? Over, I would say a third of them have not been here. They're not aware that it even existed. Our attendance right now is anywhere between 600 and 1,000 per month, depending upon the month and what's going on. We expect that number to double. And through that, I just want to really thank Joanne and Arlene and Adam from the city and marketing team. They've been helping with weekly pushes, so we give them initiative, and I think that's been helping as well. And, Ricky and Mike with Parks Division has been helping us with registration for programs as well. So, but I wanted to play a video. So there is a promotion about Hollywood, the different offerings here, and there's so many that gets played before every single film screening. So I know you guys have that queued up. If you could play that.
Today's Hollywood is welcoming, inclusive, full of economic opportunities, and more in progress as we celebrate our centennial year. Hollywood is home to the fundamentally award-winning Blue Wave Vivian Beach and historically famous Hollywood Boardwalk, named one of America's most nostalgic oceanfront promenades by USA Today. This is one of the reasons travel rated Hollywood as one of the top beach destinations in the country on TripAdvisor. Stretching 2.5 miles, the Boardwalk is the ultimate place to stroll, jog, or take a ride with a beach breeze. Hollywood is also becoming a premier golf destination with the redevelopment of 36-hole Reese Jones designed Orangebrook Golf and Country Club, 18-hole Richard Mandel designed Palm Beach Golf Resort, Greg Norman Championship Course at the Diplomat, and Jack Nicklaus designed 18-hole course at Olympus. Spend a day on the lake enjoying Hollywood's year-round warm temperatures. Tour the sites by one taxi, navigate the nearly 30 miles of inland waterways, enjoy deep-sea fishing, and plenty of water sports. Just over the Intercoastal Waterway, the 15-acre and Cold Beach Center, one of the largest coastal mangrove wetlands. Explore exhibits, the fishing pier, observation tower, and or canoe through the mangroves, along the Great Florida Bird and Wildlife Trail. And keeping our city resilient is a top priority. We are investing in environmental sustainability dedicated to enhancing community resilience and hardening our infrastructure. With more than 130 projects, we are working hard on climate solutions to address our changing coastal environment. Minutes from the beach is downtown Hollywood, with the recently refreshed streetscape. Brick-lined walks lead to quaint sidewalk cafes and shady strokes with unique boutique shops. Don't miss the colorful wall murals giving life to downtown and continue to shape Hollywood into an arts and culture destination. In the heart of downtown is the Arts Park at Young Circle. 10 acres of lush green space where local artists hone their skills in glass blowing and painting. Visitors of all ages can also take in free performances and live concerts. And soon, we will open the doors to the expanded Art and Culture Center, celebrating its 50-year anniversary. The multidisciplinary Arts Education Center will be a new 5,400 square foot education space, home to classrooms for dance, music, and visual arts. You can conveniently get to where you want to go by taking advantage of our new and free Holy Ghost shuttle service, with convenient stops all around the city. Hop on and hop off. It's all at your doorstep. We're glad you're here in Florida's Hollywood, a place for everyone.
Our
All right,
superstar Arlene over there. So as you can see, it
Only
not
one typo on the golf course mentioned, but
Okay,
we'll
sorry.
talk about that later.
obviously we have a little update of our project too, but as you see, it not only talks to visitors, it talks to residents and shows how you're working for them and constantly reminds them getting in front of people is really hard. When they're sitting there with their popcorn, they got nothing better to do waiting for the film. So it's a great way. You have an engaged audience that you connect with, and you can continue to update those messages as your message changes as well. You'd be surprised the amount of people you talk to that live around here that don't come downtown as much, you know, just because you live here. I mean, how many people have been to the beach in the last month, right? You know, not everybody, right? When you talk to residents, but it's here and the downtown is here and they're not going. So finding ways to engage people to come down. So we're working with civic associations through the Women's Club, the Sterling Road Library, the homeowners associations, the LGBTQ Council, and creating monthly nights for them to go. So it makes sure they're getting out town. At least once a month, there's something for them to do and kind of pushing them. Again, the really events driven, specific date, not kind of open-ended, is really where you're seeing the engagement with people. And those are things we're leaning into. You know, just from a financial standpoint, as everybody knows, state of Florida, again, we got zeroed out of funding as they did the last 2 years. We did get a little NEA funding. It was $15,000 of the $100,000 that we were expecting. But you know, the startup cost that we've already incurred on this was $2,500 for a POS system. We had to replace the popcorn machine for $2,000. The property owner, as we negotiated with them, we had took over the lease, but then the rent went up $1,000, which is kind of what the funding does, is kind of helps cover that portion as we move forward. We had to do a lot of cleaning and purging, and that had some cost to it. We have current needs that we're in process of doing right now, which will be an additional $20,000. It's repainting and signage and lighting, a mural, a new refrigerator, carpeting, and restrooms. So again, just like what we just did this past weekend, we want this energy is going to be directed at the cinema as we get into season. We're planning to do Bollywood nights. Anybody loves Bollywood? I love it. I'm obsessed with that. Again, that's something that's going to draw from outside of Hollywood. We have a partnership with the New Times film critic who is all into this and is going to push it hardcore across the Tri-County area. and more festivals. We will be hosting FLIP in February, so anybody who loves the film festival will still be a part of that. But we'll also be creating more things that we can do throughout the community. We have an advisory committee and consultants we've been working with right now. The On Location Hollywood series has been a big hit. I've talked with Andy Ruffner with Hollywood Historical Society, who has spearheaded this. We're going to continue this. It's not going to end, even though we're doing the 2 films, La Florida and Body Heat, in 2026. We're going to continue this throughout the year and until, as they say, until the wheels fall off this one, because people are really interested in it. And it's been wonderful bringing those artists back from the other Hollywood to this Hollywood, and they're excited to do it. You know, I would just ask, in the Art Walk, it had been used as the magician space. So I'm talking with the Sierra Gray group. We'd like to promote it as a cinema. It's a cinema, not a performance space. So looking to do a BOGO or something on our Art Walk night, even some free films as well. There's a lot of things we can do, free film performances for the community throughout the year. If it's unlicensed, which a lot of older films are unlicensed, we can play them all we want for free. We don't have to pay the distributor. We don't have to do anything. So there's a lot of things we can do, again, to continue to engage people. Our costs are so low. Our tickets are $10 and $12. You go to AMC or Regal, you're talking $18. Our popcorn's $5. Theirs is $9. Our candy's $3. Theirs is $6.50. I mean, yes, we have to park, but it's $1. We tell everybody about the $1 an hour a lot. So that's really not an issue. It's just we need a little time. And as we said, there is deficits. We're still experiencing some of them that we are bridging the gap. I would ask you to trust in our team and our board and stakeholders to move this forward, not because you like us or what we do, but because we get results. There have been many changes at the center since I started, not just with logo and branding, but with our staff and infrastructure. We need the best and the brightest to deliver, and we have those people in place. We're currently identifying the right leader for the cinema and working with those consultants and advisory councils as we traverse this next steps. We're looking for director master programs, all kinds of really interesting things. There's some big people that are really interested in what we're doing. Under great duress and physical barriers due to the construction, we increased attendance from 44,000 to 55,000 this past year. Our camps and after-school programs have consistently sold out 2 weeks from the start date for the past 9 months. We'll do the same for the cinema because we're persistent and we make data-informed choices to move programming forward. We're developing white paper-supported funding asks to major funders and potential partners. We're committed to making the cinema a gem in Hollywood and a valuable resource for the South Florida community. So we, like you, are very common sense. I looked at those numbers too, and we were talking I remember putting my thing together in 2 days in the backyard for 5,000 or whatever. We look at numbers too, and we understand, we take the stewardship of every single tax dollar so critically. Our whole team, by giving that space that you've just honored us with, and with this, we will deliver on it and then some. And we will make sure that we're engaging the local restaurant partners that we use in our events, as well as hotels and anything else that we can enhance the downtown business development community. So thank you for your time.
All right, Jennifer, well, I love the momentum and the energy. Just a question for you. Obviously, we, in the previous meeting, had discussed I think, a $60,000 marketing investment into showing that film, as a preview before every movie and before the eyeballs. What was the attendance since January, do you know?
Well, we took over in June.
Right.
So
June.
we averaged, one month was 600, 1 month was 1,000, one was 800. So anywhere we're averaging about 800 now, and we expect to double that number.
All right,
if not
so
triple that
800
number.
times, let's just say $12. I know they'll spend a little more, but let's just say 800 times 12 is $9,600 of revenue a month based on that napkin math of 800 people paying $12. Do you know what totally, I'm excited about the energy and the commitment that you just described on where you want to take it. And I think the Art and Culture Center Hollywood has obviously done a great job of creating what it has at the center itself and cultivated that following and has the executive and cultural staff that knows how to do it. So I'm very excited that you all have the cinema and that you, as you just described, have a vision for what you want to do with the space. It could be obviously a lot, and it is a venue. So I'm glad that you're looking at it that way. Do you know what your break-even point is on like monthly or annually?
Yeah, our monthly operating is 16,000-ish, depending on, we have tech fees. It depends on if we have a film festival, our tech fees go significantly up because they have to, all the film programming.
So you're in the red right now.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like the Film Society was operating at 4,000 in the red, and this was again with the support, and same thing with us. We've cut that in half to about 2,000 a month, but we expect to continue to grow it with the programming. I will say we haven't done a huge push on a lot of things just because of the state of the space, and I'm a big fan of first impressions are everything. Somebody comes in one time and they don't see what they need. We've done some things to spruce things up, but to do a huge, massive push, this next 30 days, we're going to be doing a lot of our improvements there, and it's like go from there. And so again, we're not looking to this to be a handout, but a hand up to get this where it needs to go for like the next year. We hope this to be profitable. That was always the plan as we looked at the prospectus from other people and other organizations that are doing this, O Cinema and some of the other groups, that we have a surplus of 6,000 to 7,000 a month.
Right. Yeah, it ought to be profitable if you can take advantage of what you can and market it correctly. I imagine the landlord has worked with you. How many years are left on the lease?
So we did a 2-year lease with them.
Okay.
So a short-term lease, and he's willing
You
to
have
work with
options?
us. Yeah, we have options, but for us too, we're data-driven as well. We can't take on a huge deficit and continue to go forward if we
Okay.
can't move it
So you're going
forward.
full speed for 2 years and hope that there could be great success.
100%.
Gotcha. All right, Commissioner Board Member Coleri.
So with all the information, hi Jennifer, great event on Sunday. I felt like I was almost in San Francisco, the way they made it an H. I thought it looked like the tail end of the Golden Gate Bridge. They're very great in the arts there, so it was really a wonderful event, so thank you for that. I guess with all the information that you provided, and just being true, like average people and putting in the data and all the information you provided, what is your ultimate goal? At the end of the day, like nuts and bolts.
I mean, we do a variety of things there. Like, I understand independent foreign language film does not apply to everyone. Same thing when we look at the center. We're looking at making sure there's programming. That's why we do first run films. We had, Downton Abbey, and right now we're running Bruce Springsteen. So we do a variety of that. The idea is similar to the Art and Culture Center, that where at least at some point throughout the year, somebody connects, at least 75% of people will connect with something that we're doing and be engaged with it and be interested. So continue a variety, but the biggest thing is creating these very specific time, events, dates, et cetera, that will drive the traffic, and working with our community partners and working with groups outside and other film festivals to bring people from outside the area, as well as the people that live within our zip codes, to be engaging more with our downtown community.
So when you had said a raise of hands of how many people, you said a third. Do we have like specific data on that to show where, like when they check in, do they put their zip code of where they're from? Like how do we track that?
Well, 50% I can tell you are outside of our zip codes from registration. A third were the ones who had never been there before and didn't know it existed before that event.
Okay.
So it's around 50% of people that are outside Hollywood zip codes, and we have that through the registration data. Yes.
And then out of the 800 you said that solicited a month.
Yeah.
How many of those tickets, because in the past, there were promotional tickets. So how many of them were actual purchase tickets versus handout tickets?
All of them are some type of paid ticket. So, I mean, we have 12 is the highest, 10 is child, and then 9 is matinee and seniors. There are film festivals, so they'll do a rental. And so we'll get a rental. So they're working something else out. We get some revenue from it. So if the film festival, they come in 300 that day, they paid us a day rate. So it's not, you can't really quantify every ticket to $10 or whatever, depending upon what the rental space is, because we do quite a few rentals as well.
And you said you took this over in June, right?
June, yes.
So you really haven't had the mechanism in place to show the profit net or in the red.
Right. And it's the summer. Summer is always tough for everybody.
Right. So just so you can understand where the comments came from at the last meeting and also from the history, although I'm sure you're very aware of it, but for the last 13 years that I've sat here, we've talked about this, and it has been a money pit,
Right.
literally.
Right.
What I would have liked to hear is that the reason that it's so valuable is because it's something historical that brings value to our downtown, but I didn't hear that today.
Right.
In addition to that, and so I obviously support our history, but it has been an ongoing money pit
Yeah.
for 13 years and God knows how long prior.
Well, it's only been for 13 years. It only
only been there
opened,
for
it opened 13 years ago. Yes.
But it's been a debacle the whole time. Really, there has been no opportunity. And while I understand the need, I also think that the location, and this is just my personal opinion that help me navigate through, I feel that the location compared to what we've invested and how much we've spent on improving and helping you all improve the Art and Cultural Center and the location of where the cinema is, it's kind of a disconnect. If it was something little closer, maybe it would have been, maybe perhaps it would have been more valuable. So I just am having a really big issue with distributing the funds, as we talked about at the last meeting, and the amount of money that we're distributing to help get it off the ground yet another year. While there are other businesses that could profit in the downtown area that have also been struggling, and you know, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, and how do you weigh that out, right? And that's my concern. Well, now here we are now with a new idea, a new set, a new energetic synergy type of. We just don't have the facts to implement towards it. And to me, I feel like as being a good steward of dollars, we've heard these ideas year after year after year that have been unsuccessful. And now we have a new idea, and I have full confidence in you, and I appreciate the arts, but I just feel as if there's just not enough for me to say, yes, let's distribute that funding. We can't just keep reinventing the circle and it not, there's no data to show me right now that this is worth that $60,000 investment. And I'm sure I'm not going to make fans by saying that, but that's what I'm trying to understand. Like, how is that a guarantee? Because it doesn't sound like there is a guarantee. It's the what ifs and the perhaps. And that's where I have a challenge with. And so I'm going to leave it open to my colleagues. But when you say, I guess going back on the ticket price and stuff before, we used to give tickets through the CRA. They would purchase for events and they would give the tickets to bring the draw in. Where do you think that has failed, I guess, in the past?
I mean, again, I can't speak to somebody else's planning and implementation. All I can say is, as of June, whatever deficit they were looking at, we've cut it in half in the 4 months. And I'm not saying we haven't had 100% focus on it, but with everything else going on, like this has always been, as soon as this opens, this is getting that full force as well. So I do feel like there is some data because we have been able to cut that. We have increased attendance. We will continue to increase attendance. We're working with other people. To me, this is a temporary thing. I 100% agree with everything you said. So I don't discount anything you said. I'm a big fan of ROI. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Don't throw money down the well if there's no value. I feel there is a lot of value when you do go to these events, and I encourage you to go one. The energy is amazing, and the reviews that they're putting out afterwards are amazing. They love it. They want to see more of it. They want to see more of it. It just needs to be done well. And it needs to be done consistently, which is what we have been gearing up and bringing people on board. And now that season is on, we got a full force of like programming ready to go now that we know we have our full population behind us as well as the entire South Florida community, not just ours.
I mean, I like what you're presenting. I like the energy behind it. Again, it just goes back to the proof is in the pudding.
Yep.
And I have a hard time with the amount of time that we've spent on this and the amount of money that we've invested and the lack of that actually taking hold and moving forward. And that's my biggest concern. So I'm going to listen to my other colleagues.
Okay,
Thank you.
let's go with Board Member Shuham, then Hernandez.
Thanks. I mean, absolutely. What Commissioner Clary is saying is we have an obligation to our taxpayers to make sure that we're investing our dollars wisely. I think the thing for me that hasn't really been articulated is prior to June, we had a disinterested manager, someone who wasn't focused at all on Hollywood. And you're right, we kind of kept feeding that beast who had no concern for us. And I think that's really the difference is we have, and not only in Jennifer, but in her whole staff, a organization that only cares about us. Their focus is Hollywood. And I mean, I see the results already. It just feels like finally somebody cares. And before we were trying, and I know Lisa tried for so many years to generate interest, but the manager, the operator, didn't really have that love. So I have been to a couple of events. The energy is off the charts. The Bart Got a Room was so much fun. And I think what you're doing is super smart. Like you have these regular run movies all the time. I couldn't believe when I saw Springsteen was there on opening day of Springsteen nationwide. It was shocking. But then in addition to that, you're having these whether it's a dinner and a glass of wine at Vintage in conjunction with the movie, you're paying $20 or whatever it is. It's amazing. And people are really responding. I wanted to mention, obviously I feel, not only do I feel like this is a very good investment from the CRA, but I also feel like it's a commitment that we kind of made to give you a chance. I know you love all of this, but this is really hard work, very draining work and very emotional work. And I just feel like we should give you that chance, and we, of course, can reassess it at the end of the year. But I wanted to mention to you, on Sunday, Emmanuel George was there, and he's looking for a place to, did he talk to you? To, view some of his films. And so to have, and you mentioned this in your words on Sunday, to have this as, and I don't have any problem with the distance. In fact, I think a little distance from the Art and Culture Center is nice. It's forces people, if they come to an art exhibit and you have a movie event that night, then they walk through downtown, and I think that's what our business owners are really excited about. So, but your words about having all these different opportunities for people, whether it's film, dance, visual arts, et cetera, it's just really exciting for Hollywood. And that little theater, I mean, we all have kind of a love for it, and it was on life support, and I think we can kind of see it gradually getting off of that life support, but it's not going to happen overnight. So I very much appreciate your words about tracking data. We really never had that before, except for Lisa coming in here and saying, nope, still, despite her best efforts and things like that, because she had a job to do at the CRA. She wasn't running the movie theater. Now we actually have a Hollywood-based entity running the movie theater. Let's see. I thought the video, I've seen it before, it kills me every time. It makes me want to jump on a plane and go visit that city. And then I realize, oh my gosh, that's our city. We're so lucky. And I think the more people that get to see it, the better. I think I see Cobra Joe in the back. We have this amazing car show, and we have so much happening. And I know that we're starting to get a little nervous about what we're seeing with real estate values and things like that, but I feel like we are really coming to a great intersection here of cleaning things up, of offering more amazing activities, including Joe and including everything at the Art and Culture Center. And I just feel like whatever we can do to keep that momentum going. So I fully support this request. And I said it on Sunday, I feel like you are just the right person at the right time. And the energy you bring to things, Jennifer, is unbelievable. So very, very appreciative.
And I wanted to just comment to that. I'm not one to disparage anybody else, so I just kind of talked about our stuff. But, Broward County Film Society has been very clear that they were not as committed and did not program as much. I don't want to go into a lot of detail about that. It's just not my way. I'm very positive and use that energy going forward. But as you said, and we have a Sri Lankan film coming on Saturday. So this director, and producer from out of Sri Lanka, Mayor Levy put me in touch with a filmmaker in Israel who's going to come in February, and they're going to be one of the most renowned filmmakers in Israel who's going to come here, and they're looking for spaces. You can't do that at the Regal. You can't do that at these other places. There really is nothing else in the area to do things like that, and it's really wonderful messaging, and again, brings not just local, regional, but international focus to Hollywood and making it a place that is very welcoming to people of all international persuasions I see myself there as well. Here's that little blip. They're putting that out. You don't know where it gets shared from there. So it's really exciting, the things that are coming, Justin. I appreciate that.
Sri Lankan Society.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of nationalities you can tap into that can have an audience that lives here. Let's go to Board Member Hernandez.
Thank you, Mayor. Jennifer, I love your energy. However, I've actually talked to the restaurant owners, and they said that they have the movie theater has never brought anybody into them. The negotiating tactics, you need to give the first drink, and then the restaurant, where they give you the second drink, or give you a discount on the second drink. So some of the tactics that have worked in the past has not really worked. I'm looking at the taxpayers' dollars, and I'd rather you focus your energy on what we've just spent millions of dollars in, which is the Art and Culture Center, to be quite honest with you. One of my doctors goes to the movie theater, and he loves it. You want to know why? Because it's only him and his wife when they actually go to the movie theater. And he says, we have the place to ourselves. And I get what you guys are trying to do. And the energy that you have, I'd rather it gets focused on something that it's probably more fruitful than what this place is for. It's a small place, doesn't have the capacity to be profitable. And then you have groups of people that actually rent the theater by the day, and they basically get it for pennies on the dollars. And then the taxpayers are the one that have subsidized that in order to take place. I love the film, but the film is more about the beach CRA and the downtown CRA. And those people are already in the downtown, which it was the point that I was trying to make. By the time they're looking at this movie theater, they already know where the beach is. They already know where the downtown is. And I don't know how you track the people that actually go there and the numbers that you're telling us, the 800 plus people. That probably includes the individuals that rent by the day, correct?
Yeah, so if like the Popcorn Frights they rented for the day. It's $1,200 for the day to rent the facility to do their film festival. They give us we are there and we track how many people are coming in per day. So yes, the number would include anybody that came in on the rentals. That's how we include them.
Okay, so the rental for you place for the movie theater is $1,200 a day?
For an 8-hour period.
For an 8-hour period?
Correct.
8 hours. Okay. Do you rent it for less than 8 hours?
If we do it, we do a 4-hour block as well, and it's $600 for the 4-hour block. So it's still the same, and then if they have additional hours, then they get charged up based upon if they have load in or load out or add another film. So it gets added on.
What about if there's any other events that doesn't have anything to do with film? Do you also rent the venue?
So yeah, we'll do private screenings, but again, same thing. It's a $400 block, up to 50 people, and then additional amount.
$600.
No, 400. I'm sorry, 600 for the 400 block. Yes, I'm sorry, for the 4-hour block, and then that includes up to 50 people, and then additional people after that is an additional $8 because we have to pay the distributing licensing fees to the various studios.
Okay, so basically brings it down to $8 per seat.
For those special engagements for the additional add-ons.
Okay. Look, I love the Art and Culture Center.
Yep.
I love you. I just think that our tax dollars is not being the wisest expenditure for the buck. And I can tell you that from the restaurant owners that I've talked to, no business has come from this particular, in the past. It's happening now. And originally, the CRA was supposed to be buying the tickets from the movie theater, giving those tickets to hotels, and the hotels were supposed to distribute it to their patrons, and their patrons hopefully would go to the movie theater. I also want to bring something. We spend over a half hour so far, 45 minutes, on something that's $60,000. We approved millions of dollars in less than 3 minutes. And it's not that we don't want to support you, is that we're getting feedback from our residents and our business owners is saying, why are you investing money on something that, as Commissioner Kaleri said, is just a money pit? It's just like people that have a boat. They
Well,
love the
these are
boat.
marketing dollars, and so the question was,
Yeah.
what's the other opportunity for marketing the downtown and the beach versus the marketing to the audience at the cinema? That was what we discussed.
Correct.
That was the.
I don't think the value is there. It's not anything against Jennifer. It's not anything against this, because some of the people that actually go, they really enjoy it for the reason that I've said. They're the only people there. And so for the marketing dollars, I don't think it's the wisest move that we can make. I don't think it has never brought any results. And I'm not sure that your energy is going to be well spent there when we have bigger and other things that we can do that will bring in more people to the downtown area. Actually, we'd rather give the money to the Art and Culture Center for other venues and other purposes rather than to do something like this. But let me ask you a couple of key questions here. How much is the rent?
$5,000.
Okay, so that's the $60,000 that we're talking about doing. How much do you pay someone that it's earmarked for the movie theater to market it? In other words, what is your budget for?
I mean, that amount is kind of rolled into our general operations, so that hasn't been broken out to that yet, like our marketing dollars. When I'm talking about that $16,000 a month, I mean specific operations for that, not like overhead and things like that we do in-house, like our finance, admin, et cetera, like that. I'm just talking about what it costs hard dollars to run the cinema per month.
$16,000?
Correct.
How do you get to that number if your rent is $5,000 is my point. How do you come up with the other $11,000?
You have film distribution fees, you have trash, you have staffing,
So these are hard costs that you.
these are hard costs. They're all hard costs, yeah.
So
I have a
that's
whole budget.
that's $170 some odd $1,000 a year.
Yep.
So, and you're working in the red right now.
Right.
You said you were doing $4,000 a month in the red?
We're about 2,000 right now,
Okay.
yeah.
I just don't see where the numbers actually fall into place.
I mean,
and
it's getting better, and we have some supporters. So we also have individual, like we have somebody that just pledged $10,000 to support it. There's a lot of different funders. That's what we're looking for. We're just looking for a bridge right now because, again, there is a lot of startup cost for us to take this on, and some of that 16,000 is prorating some of these investments that we've had to make. I fair what you're saying, that sometimes some screenings, there's nobody there. Most screenings have 10 to 15 people. Again, I have data on this. When it talks about restaurants aren't getting benefit, we've partnered with 5 different restaurants since I've opened, and they've had full houses of 50 to 70 people every time we've done it. So
Can you tell
I
me which
can't
ones
talk
they
to
are
what
so that
happened before. I can only talk to.
No, I got you. Can
Yeah.
you tell me which ones they are? The rest?
So we worked with Blue Steakhouse, we've worked with The Vintage, we've worked with Greek Joint, we worked with Social Room, and we're working with Thanks to Harrison. So we've worked with them directly. It's all in our marketing, and people have attended. I mean, it's all data. It's not just it's very specific registration details.
Some of the restaurants some of the venues that you mentioned too, I go by and I never see anybody in it, but that doesn't mean they don't get filled up on a certain point in time. I just can't support the $60,000 when I can think that the money for the marketing can do so much better somewhere else. And because, number one, the people are already here by the time they see the video. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Let's go to Vice Chair Quintana, then Board Member Gruber.
Thank you, Chair. Hi, Jennifer. So you and I have talked about it before, that there's a woman that lives in my district. Her name is Adriana Blanco, and she was kind of like Shirley Temple in Argentina when she was a child. She's now an older woman. but she's very well known in Latin America. And for the last 24 years, she's been hosting an Argentinian and Latin film festival, Hillcrest resident. And where she's been doing that is at Nova Southeastern University. And along with the film festival, there's also an art exhibition of Latin American artists. It's really an amazing thing. The first time she invited me to come, I was just like, wow, how come you're not doing this in Hollywood? And she said, because there's no place to do something like this in Hollywood. And so I'm trying desperately to figure out a way to get her to move her festival back home where she lives. The audience that was there was from all over. We had people from Palm Beach. She had people from Palm Beach, people from Miami-Dade. They were all there for her film festival. And together, after the film festival, they all went to lunch. And they went to lunch in a Miami restaurant. I didn't know they were coming from Nova Southeastern University to go have lunch at an Argentinian restaurant in Miami. But it was a full theater. That theater, what's it called over there, the big theater at Nova, I think it would be a terrible loss if we didn't have this downtown, specifically where it is. Because for me, it's like, well, what would we replace that with? What would take the place of this cinema in that location that would offer something to people who come downtown other than just a restaurant? And I mean, I think we need to diversify more what we have in our downtown personally. So I think the location is a really good place for it to be. And I think that it just, given that it's only been really a few months, and given that, like Board Member Hernandez said, you know, $60,000, given how much we allocate to other things, it's not that much money in the grand scheme of things to give this an opportunity to get off the ground. I wasn't here for the many years that some of you have experienced where you felt like the money was not being well utilized. But I feel like we're talking about a short period of time to see. And if in 2 years we see that this isn't doing well, then I will be with you on the idea that it may not be a wise investment. But I just feel like we haven't really given it the opportunity yet to take the money away. So that's where I stand on that. Thank you.
You make a really good point about the collaboration. That's what we're looking towards too. In April is National Anime Month. And so we're going to be doing an anime festival and an anime exhibition. So
Excellent.
there's going to be a lot of collaboration like that throughout the different spaces. We had Lizzie Borden in the Performing Arts Center. We had Gothic Pop Prints, and we were running Halloween. So there's a lot of synergy doing cross promotion with the different spaces. So we're looking at doing a lot of that because you have the same people interested in, you know, the distance is it's 3 blocks. I mean, we walk it all the time because we've walked there. It's a 12-minute walk from our space to there because we've done it before for staff outings. So yeah, we're looking exactly what you're talking about. Your friend is doing at Nova between the art, film, and other things. We're looking, that's how we're going to do it again. It's really about activating events and very specific things.
And I love this idea about anime because, you know, one of the things, being the mother of a 23-year-old, looking for things that young people in Hollywood will be attracted to as opposed to, you know, what older people might be attracted to. We're not offering a whole lot. You know, we have the great skate park now that young people can, but what else do we have that young people would want to go to? We just had this conversation at my house last night, so he's going to be all over that. I'll be over there with the anime festival too. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Gruber.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your enthusiasm and your hard work, and you know, the forward thinking and the statistics and what you believe can happen. And I do feel if this thing could ever succeed, this would be the time, you know, and the team in place to do it. My problem is not that I don't want to support, is that, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe this is a question for staff, is this $60,000 is coming out of a marketing campaign and with a finite amount of money that's supposed to drive people to downtown. Is that correct? Right. So 800, 1,000 eyes in a month, you know, that on a meta campaign just calling it what it is, would cost me about $100, $150, as opposed to $5,000 a month. I mean, I just ran a campaign for $100 and I got 6,000 views for one of the events that I'm doing. So I feel like it's a different conversation. It's one is, do we want to support you? And I think we would love to and see if this can work, especially now your team is the right team in place. If this thing is ever going to work, and I'm not sure it can based on the size of it and whatnot, this will be the one. But for me, and I think the total budget for marketing to bring people downtown, Joanne, is it like $240,000? I don't have it in front of me. She's gonna 260. No, the total budget this came from us looking at our marketing campaign, and the question was, why are we spending $60,000 on marketing, right? So what's the total budget?
Joanne Hussey, Director of Communications, Marketing, and Economic Development. Thank you for the question. The Community Redevelopment Agency's Economic Development ad buy for fiscal year 2026 that we're talking about is a $320,000 buy. Right now, $288,000 has been accounted for. 60 of this is part of that.
Got it. And the goal of that marketing campaign is economic development to bring people downtown.
To both districts. That's correct.
Right. Right. So that's where I have the problem with this. Like, I feel like if we're looking to support, I'm up for looking to support, but to tell the taxpayers that of a $300 and something thousand budget, we're spending $60,000. That's supposed to be for marketing and bringing people downtown. Like you said, ROI, that ROI doesn't add up. Like, if there's another way to find the $60,000, because that's the gap, I'd be willing to entertain that. But I don't know how I can tell the downtown businesses I took $60,000 of our marketing budget for that. I mean, that doesn't add up for me. So I would like to find like a different way. It's almost two different conversations for me. One is, can we justify the $60,000 spend in marketing to bring businesses downtown to give? And no, I can't. Can I justify finding money to see if we can make this work with your team? Yes, I would consider having that conversation. So it's almost like it's two different things that we're talking about here. So I mean, that's where I'm at. I don't know where everyone else is.
All right, Commissioner Clary, and then we'll check in with Biederman, see if he's interested. I'm sorry. 2 seconds. There you go.
Okay, so I like that idea because we want to support, but we can't justify. So you were in a pickle. And what was stated earlier is like we're approving thousands and thousands of dollars on, I would say, necessities and not wants. And that's different, right? You need to spend hundreds and thousands of dollars on water and infrastructure and stuff for quality of life. This is a desire and a want. That's where my challenge is. Lisa, can I just ask you a quick question in regards to, because I just want to put this in perspective. As far as how much money we have spent throughout the life of the CRA in this establishment and trying to keep it afloat approximately. Or Joanne, if you can answer it, either or.
The allocation was initially made for $30,000 for a 10-year term, and as mentioned before, it was for the purchase of tickets that were distributed to beach hotels for patrons to come downtown. When the state statute changed, we were told we were not legally allowed to do that, so we had to make a quick switch, and because of COVID, the business was really suffering. And so the allocation, it was a very quick switch that had to be made and had to be legal. And the legal opportunity was through the media buy with showing the film.
Okay.
And so
you're saying
we said
30,000
300 plus 100. So 400 over 12 years.
400,000 over 12 years.
Over 12 years, that's correct.
So that's a significant amount of money. And what have we gotten out of it? This is where my concern is, right? That, just so you could put that in perspective. So here is my suggestion. or a suggestion that you asked maybe we could come up with. We believe in you, Jennifer, and I feel you're put in the hot spot today, and I am sorry for that, but it just shows who you are and defines why you have so much integrity and you want to make this successful, so thank you. Again, answering to our business owners and our residents is the hardest challenge we have, and this is where I say the musts and the haves and have-nots, what you need to have versus what you want to have. So perhaps putting rubber to the road and showing your initiative, could it be possible that we would lower the amount that we offer, that we're going to put into this? So that there is proof in the pudding, and just limit it to a 2-month investment. So 10,000 or 15,000, whatever we agree upon, to give you that ability to keep it going and then reevaluate with the actual data and the actual input that would come forth, and then reevaluate to see how it balances out, if it is actually worth the bang. Instead of putting the whole 60,000 media buy-in, could it be where we split that up and then you show checks and balances? That way, we're being good stewards of our funding. I think it allows you the opportunity to prove what we think is out there, instead of us committing to a whole year and then it maybe, I would say, not investing the funding. That would be one. The second thing that I would also, just like to state is Commissioner Quintana had mentioned about our friend Shirley Temple in Argentina, which I think is adorable. But they go to Nova. And what we've seen in other events or striving artists, they always want it's too costly to do business in the city of Hollywood. You're wanting me to have point A and point B, and so it's cheaper for me to do it somewhere else. And so while I would love for them to come to the city of Hollywood and provide that, we can't give everything away for free either. And so how do we balance that? Is it where you have investors, or we invest that money and bring them and do the Argentina thing here? But I feel like it's going to be a challenge because you want these striving artists and we want to embrace them. We want them to give the push. But then there's always what I've seen, and I'll use an example, was our Salsa Fest. We had issues with costs, to have the event. It would be cost prohibited because of security and because of A, B's, and C's that we worked out. But is it really a benefit to the city? So those are my concerns that I have. I think it's a major benefit, but we had to work through those red tape things to get that here. And then the ultimate, at the end of the day, it was beneficial to downtown, and it brought in a lot of people. So was it worth that cost? So those are things I'd like to challenge you with and see if we could do. And I don't know how everyone feels about that, or if anybody wants to add and adjust it. But I feel just the putting the 60,000 again another year on top of the 400 that we've already spent with the maybe and the what if, even though I have full confidence, I'm still concerned about it.
So, Board Member Calleri, you're suggesting like a quarterly sort of return to us to evaluate the ROI, like in, say, 3 months, and kind of keep track of how this is
Yep.
working out?
That's what I would suggest, but I don't know how everyone else feels.
All right. So I'll open it up to Board Member Biederman if he wants to participate in the discussion. Board Member Biederman, if you'd like. All right, let's go ahead back to the queue then. Is he on mute? Kevin, you might be on mute.
Sure.
Okay, there you go. We can hear you now.
me?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
No? Nobody could hear me?
we can hear you.
I'm not on mute. Can you hear me?
Can you give him a thumbs up? I don't know if he could see us.
We can hear you, Commissioner. You can move forward with your comment.
It's a bad. Okay, thank you. I think a lot of what was said was spot on, and I agree with Commissioner Brewer about the bang for the buck on digital advertising. While we can't spend that much out of the CRA on digital advertising because hands are tied on certain things, I think providing this funding to the Cinema Paradiso under this new leadership, they could use the money that we're giving them to market the theater and downtown. So it's a roundabout way of getting word out with dollars that are legally used. I hope I made my point. I don't want to take up too much time repeating what was said. But what I will say is it said that we are 5 weeks into the new budget when this could have been taken care of 6 weeks ago with one-on-ones, and we wouldn't be talking about this publicly.
Oh.
We could have had this all on board with proper information.
Okay.
So I thought I heard Board Member Biederman say that he was supportive, is what I heard in the beginning, correct? Of and seeing the value in the people that this would bring downtown, I think is what he said. All right, let's continue the queue, and hopefully we'll get to some direction. Executive Director, I don't know if you have any feedback at this point. Obviously, there's some trepidation, but it seems like if we had our marketing dollars and be able to invest 60,000 of the available dollars in the meta advertising, which we all agree would be the most effective way to target and drive people to the downtown to help the economic opportunity for the tenants that are struggling there. And at the same time, you're, I think, hearing a desire by the board to see the Art and Culture Center be able to make this a wonderful theater for the downtown. The only reason we're having this conversation is that you felt at the time that there wasn't a place to find the 60,000. Otherwise, I don't know what legal restrictions there are on how else, other than marketing and placing an ad in the theater, that we're able to, quote unquote, support the theater. So I don't know, Damaris, if you have any feedback on our limitations, is this the only way, et cetera?
Well, the best way to go through it would probably be to have some ideas of how you might want to expend the money, and then that would need to be analyzed under the various CRA statutes that address what we can spend the money on, because a lot of it is very highly dependent on the mechanisms by which we intend to do that funding. Because as you state, Board Chair, there are so many restrictions under 163 on how we can spend the money specifically. However, depending on how it's worked out, we may be able to use that money in different ways.
Yeah. So let me ask you this question. Out of the city budget, for example, is the city allowed to support a nonprofit like we do, like those that provide human services and things, like on an annual basis? I know those might be different, so go ahead.
No, I would say that the CRA board could not directly.
No, the city.
Oh, the city, yes. The city could.
What about
So
Parks and Rec?
What if Parks and Recs took their money to specifically support?
Cultural arts, et cetera.
Yes, I don't see any reason why we couldn't use city funds from whatever aspect, depending on if we wanted to use impact funds or something like that, that would have to be analyzed. But if we were simply talking about, right.
Cultural
If we were
arts
simply
fees.
talking about
Budget.
general fund budget, then no, I see no.
Executive Director.
If I can give you some feedback, the comment before last month about elsewhere in the city budget was with the perspective that we're in the first month of the new fiscal year. So we've just gotten allocations, so I can't tell you, what's going to be over, under, or whatever, and that takes some time. Is it a legal possibility? Yes, it is, and over time, obviously, we'll see where some of those things open up. If I can give you some feedback just on the original issue, as you asked for as well, too. I think, yes, there are different ways to do marketing and promotions. The advantage, I think, that you get with a specialized downtown theater like this venue is that you get both. You get three things, really. You get the promotional aspect with the exposure. You get a unique kind of draw to downtowns that in the old days, that was one of the things people went downtown for, which was the movie theater and all the other activities that were concentrated there. And then when you get the independent programming and films and other things that go on, it gives you a third aspect. I happen to think, in terms of downtowns and redevelopment, that these kind of unique theater venues are a positive, and that when you've got one that has struggled, and they all struggle, and then you've gotten one for 4 months now that has already showed improvement under different leadership and management, that it's worth giving them the time, even if you want to do it on a quarterly basis as opposed to the annual. You try it for the transition and you see if it works, because it's already shown that it's made some progress. And that if you continue to do that over time, the dependent then becomes self-sufficient, and then someday they may be carrying the downtown as opposed to us carrying them, so.
So I like
Go ahead, Board Member McCleary. You're on the queue.
So I think quarterly would actually be good stewards of our funding, and also would create that partnership, and also check off the checks and balances, so that we could actually, be able to give those responses back, like, yes, this is the bang for our buck. Yes, this is now profitable. Yes, we are moving in the right direction. So I would like to make a motion, if possible, to create a quarterly check off of finances provided out of the 60,000 to assure that our funding is being spent properly.
And we can provide detailed reports with all that very data-driven. Again, that's how I live.
Yep.
I don't live by, my neighbor said this or this person said this. I look at the numbers, because the
Yep.
numbers tell the story just like they do in construction.
And I think we'll be pleasant, I really am encouraged, and I think that we will be pleasantly surprised, and so I made a motion, I need a second if possible, to bring back quarterly reports and release funding at quarterly.
So this would be out of the 60,000 CRA budget?
Yeah.
Marketing budget? And George, I'm sorry, I was distracted when you spoke. Did you say that there was an opportunity out of the Cultural Arts General Fund, or no?
Well, what I was saying was, is it legally possible to do that? Yes. Now, I can't tell you that we have an extra 60,000 here. We
Right.
just started the fiscal year. As you get later into the fiscal year, you can see where your expenditures are high or low in some areas where there might be some.
You might be able to shift it out.
Right,
I gotcha.
exactly. But now it's hard to do it in the first month.
And what I think might really come out of this is what we're looking for is to promote the downtown and to create that walking and that old time where you go for a cinema and you go downtown and eat. And so I really encourage to do more with working with the businesses in the downtown, and even with our parks and recs, putting displays, putting them on the boards, like getting the word out, really pushing it through social media. But that's where we have a little bit of leverage. As we're working forward, we can work with Parks Works. They can see the importance of putting that leverage out there on social media, investing the money in there, and really promote what's happening, but also promote the downtown. For example, we all love Hollyweird. I'll just bring this up as an example. If the cinema had a horror show of some sort,
Haunted
Late
house.
Halloween.
Yep. But have it promoted, right? So that it brings people, builds up that energy. So that only complements the downtown. It complements what we're doing, what we're investing our funding in, what the restaurants are investing their funding in. And then it becomes a team effort. And that, to me, is really what's most important, because right now it's just, we're in silos. And I think that we are all in this together, and we need to make sure the downtown is all in this together. And that would be my hope. So I would recommend the quarterly.
Okay. Is there a second to Commissioner? Okay. Thank you, Board Member Biederman. All right. We have a motion and a second to pursue the investment as previously discussed, with provided that we have an opportunity to evaluate quarterly the continuation of that investment, and at the same time, the city manager will have an opportunity to evaluate perhaps the availability of other dollars where we could recapture the remaining 60,000 and put that towards marketing efforts that are different, out of the CRA budget if the opportunity comes up. And I think why that works, if I might just share, is that the next quarter we have a lot of events coming up downtown. We've got the Centennial in about 20 or 15 days or what have you, 17 days. And then we have Ignite that we're working on coming into, I think, early February. So we're going to be a pretty, and it's season, so there's going to be a good opportunity. Christmas extravaganza, the lighting and what have you. So we have an opportunity to really, pump on all cylinders and get people downtown and to help grow that. I obviously find value in the meta advertising that we talked about. And because our critical need for downtown Jennifer, as you might know, is just getting more people within Hollywood and a little bit outside of Hollywood to go downtown as to patronize the businesses there. And so if that could also be a driving impression in your minds of your group on how do we create this cultural hub that ends up bringing more people downtown for the bigger economic development picture and to get the restaurants integrated, that's really what we see as the win-win. And maybe in the first quarter of this, assuming there's going to be support, that you really focus on how can you, see yourself as a driver for restaurant and for other visitorship and engage with the Downtown Hollywood Business Association, attend the meetings yourself, have them meet you. You guys are creative. Maybe ideas can come up. Commissioner Kaleri mentioned, that there's been silos. Yeah, Art and Culture Center and DH business community hasn't been really, you could say, as far as I'm aware, really like, so much of a coordination. But if there was, maybe there's creative ideas and all kinds of, fun things because our downtown is different. It's a historic downtown. It's one that is positioned differently from a Dania Point. But what can make ours a draw is that cultural aspect and that historic aspect and the unique international and arts aspect that a place like Dania Point doesn't offer in the same way. They're a more modern place. It's a different draw. So I think we really need to help distinguish our awesome, amazing, beautiful downtown to pump on all cylinders, and that cultural aspect of the historic downtown can't be replicated anywhere else like it could take place here. The cinema and the Art and Culture Center at large is that huge component. We're also going to be working with Rhythm Foundation to bring a lot more activation to the Arts Park itself. There should be another partner for you. So between the arts, the Rhythm Foundation, and the businesses that are so international and great themselves, and the beautiful public space that we have now in and throughout, we really should see, and all the residents that are coming in for the new residential that's there, it really is an opportunity to really take that leap forward and shine on. So I think it all could happen. So let's make it happen. So let's clear out the queue. Vice Chair Quintana.
One moment. I just wanted to clarify the motion. What I understood was that what Board Member Kaleri had suggested was that there be quarterly reporting and a release of those funds based on the quarterly or after the quarterly report. Okay.
And then direction to the city manager that if other funds open up, we'd love to see these marketing dollars freed up even after the first quarter and be deployed into, social marketing if we find funds elsewhere in the city budget that are permissible. Vice Chair Quintana.
Now that you just said that, I need clarification. Are we saying that the quarterly release is going to be based on the report? Is that what you just said, Damaris? Is that what the motion was?
That was my understanding of the motion that was made.
Okay.
Consensus.
Okay. So, my sense is that kind of like the foundational question that we're grappling with is whether investing in the arts is a good economic decision. And some of us are not sure that it is. And so I just looked at the Florida Department of State economic impact of the arts. It's supporting 2.6 million jobs, generating $29.1 billion in tax revenue. Tomorrow, I believe, the Broward Cultural Division is having their third annual State of the Arts report, where they'll be able to make, and they have been, making very direct connection between the investment in the art, so yeah, maybe initially arts need support that artists aren't necessarily bringing a lot of money to the table when they're starting out. Sort of what Commissioner Kaleri said, that a lot of times they're looking for stuff for free, but the idea is that it's an investment that's going to then generate revenue. And so, if I can just finish, and then I really wanted to just reiterate what the city manager, what the CRA director said about the unique experiences that a venue like this offers, and very much what you said, also, Chair, about how Hollywood is different from some of the other surrounding downtowns. I do think that playing up on our differences is what we want to do. And I mean, I wasn't here for the many years where the money was mismanaged. And so I can only say that I know, I mean, I've seen Jennifer working Sundays, working nighttime, like doing things like actually physical labor to move art exhibitions. So I know that she's giving this an effort that I haven't seen anyone do more. And I think it's an investment in our future, and it's worth investing in. And so we're not there yet, but I'm very concerned about like marketing money coming out of parks, because parks really has been underinvested in our city, and I know that there's a lot of needs that I'm personally asking that parks step up for, and I wouldn't want to take what they need to really step up to their best game out of that department. So I feel like this is a worthwhile investment. I'm not sure that, I will certainly support the motion for the quarterly reports. I just would caution it against us withholding resources because they have one bad quarter. Just in anticipation of that. Sorry, Chair, I'll be quiet now.
No, all I wanted to add was that the commissioners weren't arguing that the arts were not a good driver and something that we're obviously supportive of. It was rather the use of the marketing budget that was, the subject of the discussion on how best to get return on investment for marketing dollars to drive the most number of people downtown as possible for those marketing dollars. So it wasn't an issue of the arts, questioning the value in the arts. So that's never the issue here. All right, so let's have some closing remarks on the motion from the queue. Board Member Hernandez.
Thank you, Mayor. I think we're definitely confusing everything here. Just think of the missed opportunities that we're going to be having when it comes to marketing the downtown, including the theater, because we're giving the money at something that we know that works. If everyone here really wants to do something like this, why don't we take $10,000 out of our pocket, out of our salaries, and give it to the movie theater so they can do what they're doing? The answer is none of us will be willing to do it because we all know that what's happening, it doesn't work. Yet we're willing to do the taxpayers' dollars to be able to do something that we know it doesn't work because we love the Art and Culture Center. And please do not confuse this with the arts. The mayor said it very nicely, but that is not what any of us were talking about. Quite the contrary. We were all very supportive of the Art and Culture Center. We're all very, very supportive of the arts. What we don't want to see, and we're going down this path right now, and I don't know why, is having the Art and Culture Center wasting good energy at something that we know it doesn't work. It hasn't worked for 13 years. It was a pet project of somebody years ago. It has continued to be a pet project, and now we're going to further that pet project by doing something like this. For $100, we can get the same amount of eyes on something like this, yet we're willing to spend $5,000 a month to do it. Are we really being good stewards of the taxpayers' dollars when it comes to marketing the downtown? Why are we going through all the trouble of creating the parking? We're spending millions of dollars to try to bring people to the downtown, and yet we're trying to quell the ability of the department that is in charge of doing it because we want a pet project. This is a pet project, as some people have said. There are some individuals, and we have received emails that have said this. We love going to this place because we're the only people in the theater. It's very quaint. This is what we're actually supporting. And that is the reason why some of the business owners in the downtown look at us and says, that's why we're not successful. We're not changing something that we know that it doesn't work. Jennifer, nothing to do with you. Believe me, I will do anything that I can in order to support the Art and Culture Center, but I can't just continue to see how we're going to spend good money at the bad when we have a limited amount of budget that we can take for doing this from somebody else. And so we have American Legion Post 92 that probably brings more people to the downtown area than the movie theater does on the ongoing basis. These are local people that come to the downtown. Do they come? And these are people that probably save, risk their lives to serve our country. And we're going to have an item coming up that is going to be $11,000 or $8,500 to do something that it gets seen by thousands of people on the train when they come by back and forth every day from Orlando. So look at the marketing that we're going to be giving for that. And we're probably going to quibble about spending that kind of money. So no, there's no way that I can in good conscience support something like this. And most of you know that this is not a good investment. So why are we continuing to do this? An hour and a half doing this thing. And we have other projects. The Post 92 is one of them. The American Legion is one. The Italian American Club is another one that has the ability to do something like this that will bring more people to the downtown. This is a pet project from somebody, and you guys are willing to do something like this. I'm good with that. I'm glad that the city attorney clarified what we were looking for. If you guys vote for this and this passes, which I'm not going to, I just want to be clear what motion is, that we're going to revisit every quarter whether we continue with the funding or not. Is that clear on this? Yes. Not the city manager, we are. Yes. I just want to make sure that it comes back to us.
That's my understanding of the motion as it was made, that the quarterly reports would be made to the CRA board, and then you guys would release funding based on whatever criteria you
Okay,
decide.
I just want to, I'm still voting against it. I just want to make sure that every quarter, we're going to be rehashing the same thing again and again and again. And that's what I understand, but because it's been there since June, and we don't have any quarterly reports as of right now, and it's more than the 3 months. So I'm not going to belabor this anymore. I just don't understand, because I'm the one who's got to walk to some of the restaurants in downtown, and I'm the one that gets hassled when it comes to this. And I know some of my colleagues do as well. But this is just not a good investment. And we're taking money away from the people that actually can get people in the downtown in order for the theater to provide the services and become successful. And that's why, we're robbing Peter, but we're not giving it to Paul. We're just robbing Peter.
I have a quick question for Jennifer before we get to Board Member Shuham. Do you feel like the CRA pushed you to do the cinema where you feel like your hands full with the new space, and that we are, pushing you to draw energy away from the team that wants to focus on the new arts hub space? I mean, is there, if you could be candid, and do you feel like you're overextending? I mean, that could be,
No,
we know the property owner. Maybe we can handle the lease in terms of his cooperation with things. Just here and now. Obviously you have a lot of plans and a vision for the cinema, but if it is out of place with all that you have going on, please say so.
Not at all. We were expecting the support, because that's how we made our prospectus of making this work to get us, through that first year. It's very prestigious for an arts organization to be able to touch all the spaces. It's really amazing, especially when everything's walkable, from our performing arts space, our artist in residence studio, which I know a lot of you guys went, and repurposing that space was so valuable to do these things as an arts and cultural organization. And to say you also have a cinema and a screening space is like a whole other level. We have our amazing Emmy Award-winning documentary film shorts. We have another one that's nominated. We're hoping we're going to have 3 Emmys in a row to be able to continue those programs. That means a lot to funders. Again, we're just asking for some time to get in front of funders who are going to be able to support things like this, and to be able to have the space, instead of, like Adam was saying, having to beg a university to do a screening or this. It's a whole different world, and it puts us in connection with other people, like the person you connecting me with in Israel, who's like, we would not be getting those calls, and who knows what else that's going to lead to from when we're looking at doing multiple activations at once in all the spaces, what makes sense in performing arts, as well as our visual arts spaces, as well as our education spaces and films, all at the same time. Our programming is much more valuable because we have all the tools at our direct disposal, and not hoping somebody has a space for us to be able to do a screening.
So you have full confidence that come every quarter, it's going to keep getting better and better, and wow.
It has the first quarter, so we hope to, I'm really big on transparency. I agree with you, I'm very common sense oriented, and from the Midwest, we don't suffer fools. And so I agree with all the points people are making. I'm just saying, when George left, I didn't know he was leaving, otherwise I would have got something signed and writing at that time of why we were taking over and the numbers, and to then now go, okay, well, now I gotta, find an extra 5,000 a month or whatever to do this for the next 6 months as we're doing other things. There's a whole strategic plan of 18 months of outlook on everything that we do. So, I don't feel we're overwhelmed. I think it adds a lot of value, not just to the city, to our ability to activate arts in a really meaningful way that no other organization can say they have all the things that we have.
All right. Board Member Shuham, then we have Kaleri and Gruber, and then hopefully we'll take a vote on the motion.
Okay. Just quickly, you actually, your comment was mine, and that is by having all of these different types of arts available, it's a synergy that's created that enhances everything. I would say to Commissioner Hernandez's point, maybe some of the movies that are there running, like Springsteen or whatever was there before, may not be full houses, but your focus is on these events, and the ones that I have been to are full. And so it's two different things that are happening in this one space concurrently. We have major films running. Maybe on a Tuesday night, your friend gets to go and be one of 10 people there, but for the events that they're putting together, it's a very different story. I also would say that there's different types of marketing, and this is just different than the Meta thing. It's just all different types, and they each have their own unique value. And to me, this serves a very specific and important purpose. And the only other concern I have, and I'm all for quarterly reports, I think that's great, and it sounds like you have absolutely no issue doing it. I am a little concerned about tying the release because, like Jennifer was talking about, painting the facility, things like that. Are we better off saying, here's $60,000 this year, bring us quarterly reports, and then next year, if these reports haven't shown a consistent value, an increase in value, however you want to define value, whether it's just bringing people downtown or it's actual revenue to the center, whatever that value is, at the end of the year, we can look at it again, or as we were saying, find the resources elsewhere. So I'm
The motion on the floor is pretty clear with its
Yeah.
different ways to scan it, but the motion is what's on the floor.
I'm curious, Chair, your thoughts on that. I mean, to me, I feel like we might be tying
it's
our hands on the
I
improvements.
think there's different ways to go about it, but the consensus of the commission, if you want to support the Art and Culture Center, is to go forward with the motion that's on the floor that Commissioner Kaleri, although she felt, strongly about the marketing dollar spend as well, she wants to see this succeed, and we
Okay.
want to check in 3 months
With
and make
that,
sure that
Jen.
it is. So I think it's a
So
fair
what-
compromise.
What this is anticipating is every quarter, $15,000. Is that going to hamper you in a way that would really undermine what you're talking about here, or do you feel like for the year you could handle it?
It's not ideal. I mean, we always like to have the monthly cash flow, of course, month to month. But I mean, if this is the way we get where we need to get, we do what we need to do.
Okay.
Again, not ideally. We like month to month is usually how we kind of work our cash flows.
So maybe we can time these reports in a way, like Commissioner Hernandez says, we haven't seen the first quarter report. So maybe we can do look backs and that way be able to release that funding ahead.
Please don't use me to try to get the point across because I am not supportive of something like
I
this.
know you're not
No,
supporting
The
it.
fact that we don't have the quarterly report, if we would have had the quarterly report, we would have been able to see and we would have been able to make a decision based on that. So
Okay. Not about changing your mind. You've made yourself clear. My point simply is if we can have a look back next quarter, that the funds could be released in a more prospective way so that your hands aren't tied. I don't know. But anyway, I'm not going to make a motion to amend what's on the table because I want to make sure that we can get the best that we can for you today.
All right, Board Member Kaleri, then Gruber. Sorry.
Just for clarification, clarification purposes, we started our budget in October. So yes, there's been June that you've taken over, but quarterly. So October, we will ask for it come January to show us the pros and cons, and we'll move forward from there, releasing the funds. I'm not budging on that. Otherwise, I will not vote for it because I'm going to go back to my original statement. We keep beating a dead horse. It's called compromise. And while we have sat up here, when I came in today, if this were to come up, I was voting against it 100%. But given the fact that you are here, there is an opportunity that may be missed. That's why it's quarterly. Prove to us that it is worth the funding spending, period. In addition to that, I think that it is so important that we really create that synergy that the mayor had mentioned to put it together and make sure that that happens. Look, it is, it's really challenging. And while it's only $60,000 this year, I will bring it back. It has been over $400,000 that we have invested into this and have no profit turn. And that is what's bothersome to me. And when I hear, because you are not the only one, Commissioner Hernandez, as you stated, that go downtown, I do frequent, I know Commissioner Gruber frequents, I don't know about everyone else, but because he's our food connoisseur here in the commission chambers, but we go and we hear the concerns and we hear the requests of the striving businesses that have invested a lot of money in our downtown. They may not be arts, but they've invested money into the downtown because they care about our downtown. And they want the same opportunity that we're giving to the cinema. And it's just kind of not balanced. And that's my issue with approving it from the past and why it's been brought up again today. So that is why. So today I was coming in, nope, we're not going to approve it. I was in the same boat as Commissioner Hernandez. NO spells no. We're going to move on. Figure it out. Maybe it's too much to take on. You explained that. But I also would be remiss if I did not give creds to Joyce Adderley as well, because she's always seen some type of value in this, Cinema Perdissimo. And she's a dear friend of mine, and she really cared about it. And that's why the compromise is so important to me, is because I don't want to waste our dollars, but I want to give you the opportunity to prove it. And so releasing the fund, I know it's going to be a challenge for you, but I think that is the best outcome that we can have today. Otherwise, the votes would not be here and you would get zip. So that would be my answer.
All right, let's go with Board Member Gruber to close.
Yep. Just really quick. So I just want to make it clear. I want to support and I would consider that amount of money. I agree with Commissioner Hernandez. I can't in good conscience say I'm taking $60,000, 20% of our entire marketing budget to bring people downtown and put it into a marketing spend where it's in front of 800 to 1,000 eyes. And for those who say, well, Meta, this marketing, advertising is very simple. It's the amount of people that see it and it's the frequency. So it's an objective measure. So to say, oh, we get just as much ROI, it's just not factual. Like there's an objective measure to advertising. So I would like that money to come from somewhere else. I'd like staff to look for that, but the motion is to spend that $60,000. So I'm not going to be able to vote on it. Take the money from there.
For the next quarter,
right?
Look at it as $15,000, and then if she shows a sufficient ROI, then the board will evaluate that. So it's a quarterly release.
No, I get it. But I don't like where the money's coming from. I don't. That part of the budget is supposed to be for marketing to bring people downtown, and that's So if it's coming from there, I can't vote for that. Yep.
All right. Well, let's call the question then. All those in favor of the motion on the floor?
Mayor?
I'm sorry, George.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but just for clarification, so we're in the first quarter already. No dollars have been released, and we're already in the second month of the first quarter. Is the motion to release the first $15,000 now in the first quarter with this action, get the report at the end of the quarter, and then determine whether the next quarter release is?
I think that's what the maker wants.
Just to be clear. Okay, thank you.
I also want to point out that this will require a 5/7 vote, as this is something that's not on the agenda.
Okay. All right, all those in favor of
Mayor, can
the,
I say something real quick?
yes, sir?
All right, so I apologize, but I agree that there's better bang for the money with digital marketing, but we could spend millions of dollars to advertise downtown on Facebook and see millions of eyes, but if we don't have something for them to come to, it's a waste of money. That's why what the executive director said makes 100% sense, is putting it into the Cinema Paradiso and letting them advertise Cinema Paradiso and all the things we have in downtown, brings people in for not just Cinema Paradiso to see our commercial, as was said earlier, but to see the downtown by bringing them in. So I don't agree that we could get more people by just advertising digitally. We need to have things for people to come to, not just eyes to see downtown. So this money that we're spending is actually threefold, as the CRA director said. And I think this is the best way to do it. And we could reevaluate in 3 months. But I get what the board is saying. And while we all agree that we want things to improve in downtown, it's just different ways of getting there. I think that we need to have more reasons to come downtown. We could spend this money on advertising the restaurants, but people already know the restaurants are there. They don't know that Cinema Paradiso is there. And I think that we need to create the synergy of, it's not just restaurants, and it's not just axe throwing, and it's not just the Art and Culture Center, it's not just a variety of other things, but it's all these things that reach out to different people for different reasons and bring them in for our end goal, and that's to have people in downtown spending money supporting our businesses.
All right, well, that was a good way to say it, Kevin, thank you. All right, so I was going to call the question, but I do have some people in the queue. I never like to stifle discussion, so do we want to take a vote, or do we want to go? I'm ready to vote. All right, hopefully that's okay with everyone. All right, all those in favor of the motion on the floor for the 3 months funding and review in 3 months, or at the end of the quarter, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Oppose.
Motion carries 5-2. All right, with Commissioners Hernandez and Gruber opposed.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jennifer.
I mean, we'll be looking to do things above and beyond. While the video is amazing, it doesn't specifically talk about those businesses. We can create additional videos that are very specific, highlighting the businesses downtown.
To downtown.
So they're seeing their logos while they're there. And while you brought up the good thing about Meta and this, Kevin brought up a good point. It's great you're watching it. They're literally downtown already. And they go, oh, I didn't know there's X throwing. Oh, that restaurant looks good, or whatever. So they're already there. We're not waiting to get them off their couch or off their computer downtown. When they're watching it, they're there. So we're more than willing to commit to make additional marketing pieces that they are also seeing other than the city.
You could do a second preview, could be after your show, and do a whole like boom, boom, boom for what's to do downtown before they go home. Yep.
All right.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good luck. Go ahead.
Comment. I just want to mention there is a Hindu American Foundation, and they would be very interested in your Bollywood festival.
It's going to be huge. Thanks. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you. That was a necessary talk, and I think we landed in a fair place. All right, Executive Director, anything else on the the informational report?
No, not on 11, thank you.
All right, I do see Cobra Joe here. Joe, thank you for being here. I know you've been talking about the extension for the Car Classic show, and I'll bring that up unless another commissioner already is going to. But good to see you here. Go ahead, Board Member Hernandez. Maybe you also were going to talk about the Classic Car Show. Activate your mic. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Can we give Joe $60,000 a year in marketing because he brings in more people than the movie theater does, and he actually markets at downtown Hollywood and actually brings people where we can actually see. And this is my point. My point is we're taking money out of a department that only has X amount of money to do something. I'm not going to belabor the thing. I think everybody here has good intention. And it was twisted around in order to provide the funding as if we were against the Art and Culture Center, which I got a feeling that we all support. Excuse me? I agree with you. Yeah, you agree that we twisted this around and so that's the part that bothers me because we have 156,000 residents that are watching what we're doing, and they're wondering how come a certain group of people can do something like this. And we're all victim of this. So at the end of the day, Cobra Joe it's been something that brings enthusiastic that has to do with old cars, new cars. They talk, they sit down, they have coffee, and it happens every month. And we know what the result is that. So I don't know if we're looking for funding for Cobra
Joe, you can invite him up, please.
Come on up. If you have a
You
presentation.
probably didn't plan on talking, but there has been some email exchange. I think his contract is expiring in, I don't know, less than a year's time, and he wants some confidence if the city can continue it and obviously step up because his costs have gone up, yet his contract fee hasn't changed, I think, in 12 years. Joe.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I've been paid the same thing for 12 years and 2 months, the same amount of money. Police have gone up from $30 to $53 an hour. Liability insurance has gone up. Trophies have doubled. So at the end of September of next year, the contract is up. And I'm hoping sometime in May or June, procurement and the Parks and Rec will put this out for bid again.
Well, let me ask you something, Joe, before you go on. How much is your contract every year?
$1,996.
$1,996 a year?
So a month.
A month, so about $20,000. Okay, I'd like to ask the city attorney something. We have the ability with five votes out of here to be able to extend his contract. Is that not correct?
That would be correct.
Okay, can we give Cobra Joe?
This is not a city contract?
It is a
with
city
Parks? Okay, so it would need to take place during the regular commission meeting.
Okay, so it's, okay. I will bring it up on my comments because if you get $2,000 a month and you bring the amount of people that you do to the city of Hollywood and you have for years, and not only that, but some of that expenses goes to the police officer to take care of the downtown, which helps with security, not only while you're there, but around, I think it's money well spent. I will bring it back up on the commissioner's comment. And what can we do this with the CRA money? Is that something that we're not allowed to do because it's advertising anymore?
Well, in this case, you're
Well, it's a
asking about
special event.
extending his contract, and his contract is with the city of Hollywood, not with the CRA.
Well, no, I'm just trying to get the funding out of the CRA.
Well, the question was whether you could extend the contract. If it was a matter of funding
Okay.
a contract with Cobra
With-
Joe for an event like this, we would need to look at the event and what we're doing. But if you're talking about marketing dollars, then that's
Oh, no,
one thing.
the CRA executive director has already said he does not have any spare money at this time because of how early the budget is. So I'm not going to push that issue anymore. But is the money for his contract comes out of the city of Hollywood general funds, or does it come out of the CRA fund? Do we
It's
know?
my understanding that it comes out of the city of Hollywood funds.
Out of Parks and Rec?
Ricky, I mean, you want to?
City of Hollywood? Okay, I will bring it back up there, and I would look to try to double the amount of money you make, because if you make $1,900 a month, and it's a one-day deal, and you bring hundreds of people to the downtown in a day that it's normally dead, and I believe that some of the restaurants are starting to open up on Sundays in order to help with some of the crowds that you have. I like that idea.
Yeah, Mickey Burns is actually opening at 9 in the morning now on the day of the show, and some in the new French restaurant that just opened up, he opens up first thing in the morning. And
Chocolata's full.
Chocolata's open at 8 o'clock. And I quit bringing food trucks and stuff downtown so people will start using the restaurants.
Good idea.
I haven't had a food truck, I think, in almost 6, 7 months now.
Good. I'm glad that you keep doing what you're doing, and thank you for coming out and reaching out to us and letting us know that you need the help. We have the ability to help.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you, Joe. A question from Board Member Coleri. Let me activate her mic. Go ahead.
So this is part of the problem when you open up Pandora's box, right? So with that contract that you have, I guess checks and balances also, it's profitable for you to have the downtown car show? Or is it, are you in the red?
I'm sorry, I don't
So
understand.
do you charge each car to enter into the car show?
Yes,
Right. So it is somewhat of a profit for you to have that downtown, correct?
yes.
Correct. So when you were talking about a successful business, here is an example of that and what I was trying to go back to from the prior. But with that being said, while it brings downtown and it brings people to the downtown, are they utilizing those restaurants when they come down, or do they bring, because what I've seen, and just for clarification purposes, so it's a great business for you. It is a great idea to bring people to the downtown to see what we have to offer. Now we have some restaurants that are opening, but majority of the individuals, because being a child of a car shower, you bring your cooler, you bring your stuff with you, and you because you're limited, you're just showing your car and you're enjoying the atmosphere. Are there, it's bringing people, but I would like to see how much benefit it is to the downtown if we're talking about nuts and bolts, as far as the street walk. Now, you're saying that the businesses are opening earlier. So that gives me positive input that they're seeing an opportunity to really get their name out there, to get people to come in and utilize their shops, which I hope is going to be productive. And I think that that's a great thing. It also brings people to the downtown, and a lot of them, because if anybody's been to the car show, there's a lot of people that come to the show. They walk up and down, and perhaps they'll say, you know what, I'm going to come back next week and try this restaurant. Or I'm going to come back next week and I'm going to go to that cinema. Or I'm going to go down to the arts park. But that's our opportunity, Joanne, that we need to use our marketing, what's coming next. Make sure you go, just what we talked about a minute ago. Use that opportunity, if we're going to invest, use that opportunity to promote the up-and-coming events that are happening in the downtown. Have our CRA individuals or have our city out there saying, hey, next week at the Arts Park, it's going to be this. Hey, next month at the Cinema Perdisimo, there's going to be, Perdicio, there's going to be, I want to make it Italian.
Or at least
there's going to be a
signage,
show. There has
board,
to be
yeah.
that promotion during these events
Leverage it.
to make people come. Because you're bringing them, we want them to come back. We don't want them to come for the show. We want them to come back and spend money in our restaurants. We want them to come back and utilize our downtown and our arts park. And this is our golden opportunity. So thank you. I look forward to seeing you at the commission meeting. I support it 100%, but this is where I was trying to get at with the last item that we spoke about.
All right, Commissioner Hernandez, I think you might still have a minute or two. Go ahead.
After spending 2 hours doing this.
Hey, go ahead.
But by the way, maybe the theater can advertise the car show.
Yeah.
Maybe this is some of the things that we could.
I think they'd be happy to.
I'm still thinking that we're throwing good money at the bat, but I'm just saying, if there's ways to help other venues, that's what the purpose is for.
Yep. All right, this was a healthy, sort of discussion on leveraging all the different components that we have downtown to support and push all of them. So thank you, Joe. All right, to be continued.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. All right, Commissioner Hernandez, you good? Done? Or did you want to close out with anything on your comments?
Oh, my comments,
Go ahead.
I haven't even started on my comment.
Oh, okay.
Just to, let's talk about the post 92, the mural, the American Legion. If you don't, we need $11,250 to redo the mural that we did. Can I have
refresh it?
support for that?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I need one more.
To refresh the mural on Dixie on 21st Avenue that's facing the
To
tracks.
refresh the mural at American Legion post 92. Thank you. So that's 4. So thank you. Thank you for coming out. I really do appreciate it.
This is the color and the stucco faded like that.
Yeah, correct. It actually,
metal.
when it was first installed, I brought up and other people brought up the wire lap that
Wire,
was
right,
there, that it
right.
would be a potential problem.
Yeah.
As it turned out, it did become a hazard, and code enforcement has stepped in and says, we don't want people walking by and hurting themselves. So we have a quote from the artist to be able to remove everything and flatten it out, do what they need to do in order to put a new mural on, and the price of $11,250 includes a new mural.
Great.
So I have support. CRA Director, I'm sorry, but we need to dig in your pocket about $12,250 in order to get that done.
We'll look through the budget. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you much.
Well, I just don't.
You
I
can
don't
say
want.
hello and let us know what you do. And
Hold on. I don't want to look through. If you need us to take a 5/7 vote to make it certain for you, George, then let's do it.
Yeah, let's do that.
Otherwise, I don't want you to not find it.
No,
No, let's
if
take
that's
a vote.
I wasn't being coy.
Okay.
I was indicating that we'll find the
Okay.
source for
All
it.
right.
If that's what you want us to do.
Yeah. All right.
we do. And if you feel it's more comfortable for us to vote on it, it's not like if we have a vote on things that just come out of the blue. Even today, I wonder if we'll get ridiculed.
We need to vote on this.
Okay, let's vote.
There's a
Make a
four-
motion that we approve
Please.
$12,250.
It's just for staff to
Cool.
look into something, not to spend money.
I'm sorry?
Although the money for the mural can be in the CRA director's authorization without us.
I understand, but it's not part of the budget, so I'd like to make a motion that we approve $11,250 to replace the mural that we have at the American Legion Post 92.
All right. There's a second from Commissioner Kaleri. All right. All those in favor of the motion on the floor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the item carries unanimously.
Thank you. And thank you so much for you guys being out
Thank
here.
you.
And thank you, Lisa, for bringing it to our attention when it came to this. I just wanted to make a couple of comments. I'd like to thank the Public Works Director and his team for changing the light bulbs along the downtown area. There are some other light bulbs. You guys want to say something?
I just want to say thank you for the invite, Mr. Mayor and Board of Commissioners. And I'd like to thank all the veterans for not for their service only, but for their sacrifice. And then I also bought pictures of the wire mesh that the material didn't take or didn't stay put where it's supposed to be, but thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming out.
And happy Veterans Day.
Happy Veterans Day as well. I like to thank, like I was saying, the light bulbs on 21st Avenue, on the west side of 21st Avenue, east of the railroad track, there are some areas that all of the lights seem to be out. And it's just because we don't have enough supply. I believe we're waiting for the supplies to come back in order for that to be readdressed. The people that walk in the downtown are very happy. My wife and I were walking on 21st Avenue from one end to the other, and I can tell you that the flooding on Van Buren Street, it still persists. Jamie Martis keeps writing to us about it, and the irony is the point that he's making was it never flooded before. And while I was there, there's 6 feet of water between the sidewalk, curb, and the center of the road, and there's no drain on that side, yet on the other side, there's a drain, and it's bone dry. So his point that whenever they repaved that area, when there was some underground work that was done, they didn't pave it and give it the right pitch. And he's been waiting, he's been bringing this up for years. And now it continues to be a hazard because if you need to get to any of those businesses, you can't. Yet on the University Station, it's a project that we just finished, a brand new road that we just paid to paved. They're doing a drainage work because they're having the same problem. Why can that Van Buren Street get the same attention than the University Station?
Did we pave it, or did the contractor for the project pave it?
Whoever paved it, the drainage didn't exist.
I've seen where the city corrected its pitch before, so Executive Director, if we can work with utilities.
And we've been waiting, and the reason we've been waiting is because there's a new construction right on Van Buren Street, and they figure that whenever they repave it, they may do it. I hate to be able to cut into a new paved road, even if we're not the one paying for it, because it continues to be a patch from then on. Why can't we just fix it now? And then whenever they redo the road, it's already fixed. They already know the right pitch. These are some of the concerns that we continue to go, and we have so many things that we have to do. I don't need to get busy with busy work. just so that we can bringing it up every commission meeting or every CRA meeting. I think some results need to take place. Also, on 19th Avenue, I've brought it up for months. There is a light pole or a small pole that has a meter for Broward County traffic, and it's hindering a potential parking lot for one of the local businesses. They brought it to our attention. We have spent money surveying. This was a project from the building that took place east of 19th Avenue, but it's taken away one parking space in the downtown where we're trying to create parking spaces. There was a permit pull from the city. We approved the permit. We finalized the permit, and the pole is actually in private property when it needed to be in public property. We need to do something about that, Raylene. I don't know if you want to give us an update as to where we are with this, because for months we've been talking about it off the dais, and nothing has gotten done. And quite frankly, it just gets frustrating when something keeps going and going and going and going and doesn't get fixed when we have the ability to do something about it. Sorry to put you on
It
the
is
spot.
that's okay. We talked about this yesterday, and it is my understanding, I did reach out to our engineering team, and they had had a conversation. Our building official had had a conversation, I believe it was yesterday or the day before, with Mr. DeMarco, and there was a game plan for connecting him with the new property manager, and he felt comfortable with that, is my understanding. Now, obviously, we still need to make some headway on this, and the team is working to that. Andrea, I don't know if you have anything to add to this, but.
The only thing I can add, you're correct, Raylene. The only thing I have to add is that the coordination involves multiple agencies between the city, the county, FP&L, and the contractor. So we've been working through all of that, and with the location of the pole and the owner, and developing a game plan to try to get the entities together to address it.
Yeah, but let me ask you something. This was talked about yesterday, and there's some movement from yesterday. What about when we talked about it from months ago? Why does it have to get to a boiling point for something to take action? That it may be a rhetorical question, but I think you guys know me well enough that I'm not going to stop bringing it up. So just like the drainage issue on Van Buren Street, the pole, it needs to be resolved. I mean, if we would have been able to do it months ago, we would have been months ahead. And to end on a positive note, I love what's happening with, no, I do. Because I bring it up only because people are bringing it to my attention. I love what's happening in the downtown, the synergy people are starting to see. Maybe it's because the season is coming. The bollards that we're installing on Harrison Street are coming in on time. There are some discussion, as the executive director mentioned, from some of the businesses says, don't do it now because we're starting our prime time. But it's a good conversation when everybody wants for something to take place later on because business is getting better. So the downtown is starting to see a renaissance when it comes to this. And that was maybe some of my opposition regarding some of the marketing point that we need in order to bring people that would actually even benefit the theater. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hernandez. All right, let's get to Board Member Coleri.
Hi. So I just have a question actually for Joe. How many of your participants are veterans? How many of your participants in the car show are veterans? Okay, great. Thank you. So I just want to put this before the board. We can't do it now, obviously, but maybe in the upcoming years, kind of like leave a little legacy. I think that since we are the ones that do our veterans picnic barbecue, and we do it at a county park. We have amazing parks in the city of Hollywood. No offense to the county, but I would like to see it moved to the downtown arts park, where it's much more a bigger affair. We can have amazing performances at the band at the stage.
Or the public will come.
And more of the public would come, and we can incorporate our businesses in our downtown to really embrace those who've sacrificed so much and the families who've dedicated to our America, and have the car show at the same time and really make it a big shebang. And then I'd also like to extend that to West, because I attend the memorial service that we have, the Memorial Day that we have. And It's all about, you know, paying tribute and recognizing those who've done so much. I'd like to extend that opportunity also to have the car show out west at Boulevard Heights as well. But if we could focus on that Parks and Recs, moving it to the downtown, I don't know if we need support for next year to have that initiated and really make it an all-American festival.
Commission, yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Yep.
And get the CRA involved in whatever way we can as well. Thank you.
All right, I love it. Let's get to Board Member Gruber for any CRA remarks.
Pass today.
Let's get to Board Member Biederman for any CRA remarks.
Pass.
Let's get to Vice Chair Quintana.
I just want to say thank you to Board Member Kalari and Board Member Hernandez for really bringing up some great points and finding a middle way. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
All right. So thank you all for your comments. Oh, Board Member Shuham, I was just looking. I thought it was my turn because Vice Mayor was up.
No, I don't.
5 minutes.
I just have a couple. We talked enough while Jennifer was here, but I just want to thank everybody for helping to bring the new wing of the Art and Culture Center to life. It was really a magnificent celebration. I want to mention, and I will mention it again this afternoon, but ask CMed to market King Tides again. Okay, thank you. And I'm working with Joseph. We're having a real issue with the restrooms at Margaritaville on Johnson. They are being repeatedly vandalized, and there's no doors on the stalls. And despite Joseph's best efforts, it keeps happening. But I just want the public to know that we are aware of the unacceptable situation, and Joseph is working with Margaritaville and his staff to improve that as soon as we can. And that's it. Thank you.
All right. So thank you all. Just a couple notes real quick. We had talked about the Downtown Hollywood Mural Project. And so it'd be nice to get an update, unless I missed it, on how the city/CRA team plans on refreshing and reinvigorating the Downtown Mural Project. Maintenance of murals. We just did American Legion, but I'm sure there are others that have been pointed out that need either replacement or work. And then we also talked about, Raylyn, about what we could do citywide and how you would administer, how CMed would administer the idea of expanding the mural opportunity and just managing that and then kind of helping to revive different areas with that opportunity. Obviously, tenant recruitment for downtown, I think, is obviously one of the top priorities that we have mentioned as a board. And so I'm just encouraging staff to continue to work on tenant recruitment and help fill the space that is available, work with property owners and with site selectors and just even guerrilla market to other areas like Wynwood, where we can go door to door and say, hey, there's space in downtown Hollywood for your second location. So let's do that on the beach and also downtown, more property improvement programs, PIPs and POPs, paint only, et cetera. Let's keep seeing that come through. On infrastructure, we're doing everything we can in both districts. The 1900 building, the Mona Lisa building, 1900 Hollywood Boulevard, has been continuing to sit empty. The landlord, I think, sometimes successfully finds potential tenants, and then for some reason, they've all gotten stuck when the building is needed, I guess, more significant repair than a tenant will typically expect itself to do. So if we could re-engage with, I think it's John DeMarco, and with the property owner and kind of see how we can reinvigorate and overcome obstacles with that corner property, that's important to get moving. And then Joe Bevilacqua had already spoken with regards to the Dream Car Classic. I do want to mention just the CMed. I know we have a ton happening in the city, but maybe somehow the social media settings can be put on somewhat of a schedule and an automatic, setting if the platforms allow for that, for every event, including Dream Car Classic, to try to saturate the airwaves the week before or whatever is scientifically the right time before an event, to continually have that flyer up in our stories, and so that in the days preceding the event, people know that it's there. If we just hit it once or twice 2 weeks before, it's forgotten. So whatever we can do for special events and kind of saturate the 5 days before or the 4 days before, repeat that 24 hours, it'll help to drive people to know that the event is happening here and now and get people going. So that's just a recommendation I have. And that's it. General Counsel, anything for CRA today?
Nothing today, thank you.
Commissioner Hernandez, you forgot, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I would ask Arlene if she could put up the picture with, this is some of the parking. I know that Javon said that we were working on parking signage and maybe an app. This is what Boulder, Colorado has for their app for their downtown in their area, so that it's actually online and people are able to see where the parking is, and maybe even the ability for some of the restaurants to be able to post something like this on their storefront. I just wanted to bring it up. I don't know if I forgot to bring it up to your attention before, but there is an idea. It also has the ability to give price and time and everything else. And I know that that's one of the things that we're going to be approving when it comes to later on today, is the ability for us to renew with the parking app. So this is an idea that my daughter actually is the one that was here this last week, and she says, why don't you bring this up? And just something in order for us to market the downtown and the ability where the parking spaces are at. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, just to that end, it's a timely point. Also, if we could continue to advertise the availability of the new garages and the new spaces on a continual, say, Thursday, Friday basis and ahead of the weekends, people will realize it's easy to park downtown. Executive Director.
Chair, Vice Chair, and board members, and to the members of the public and staff. Just after 100 years, we're finally here at the birthday, and so on Saturday, the 22nd, will be the big concert downtown that evening, and hard to believe it's almost happening. So, but thank you for everybody that's not only worked with all the activities this year getting to this point, but it's just incredible how all the timing has come together with the bond issue and all the public infrastructure improvements, and then to see what the market has done over the last 10 years, all running up to this point. It's amazing to see the peak condition the city has gotten to, right, just in time for the 100th birthday. So thank you. Yep.
All right, yes, thank you. Excited. Parks and Rec, CMed, Joanne, thank you all so much for the personal investment that you've made into the entire centennial year and the big finale November 22nd. I think you will have all earned a couple days off after November 22nd. But thank you so much, and push it on all of our media channels. I know we have some earned media. Arlene has done a great job getting us PR with various television stations, and so we're really expanding, I think, awareness for downtown Hollywood, for Hollywood, and we've leveraged the centennial opportunity as well. We know with the Hard Rock Guitar Hotel just the past couple of nights. So thank you all so much. This meeting is adjourned. See you at 1 o'clock. Just in time for lunch.